Hey everybody, it's Greg. If you like the music you heard in the break today, look up @WillRMonahan on Instagram. You'll like the rest of his stuff too. I've never lied to you before. Now, on with the show.
Yeah.
Let's record a podcast.
Oh my God, I'm really busy.
Welcome everybody to episode 81, the season premiere of the Serial Chillers podcast from the Super Network studio. I'm here with Hella Greg in a bunker across the internet. How goes it? Hella Greg.
I'm facing technical difficulties.
Yeah, but we've overcome. I think for now at least we've got an episode that we're gonna do.
Temporarily, yeah.
Yeah, we
just know I'm not at my best tonight.
But you look good.
Thanks.
I can see you.
Quit looking at the screen.
No. I can only see him. I can't see anything but him.
So
Fine.
don't forget to follow the show anywhere you like. On Facebook, it's Serial Chillers Podcast. The Facebook group is Serial Chillers Podcast. It's closed. Wait, somebody will accept you in there. Instagram is at Serial Chillers Podcast. Twiller. The Twitter is at Chillers Podcast. The email is serialchillerspodcast@gmail.com. Call or text the voicemail line 1-805-666-2513. Serialchillerspodcast.threadless.com for motherfucking merch. Serialchillerspodcast.com for stickers and updates. Rate and review on everything. Patreon.com/serialchillerspodcast to give to the show. And that's everything. We're not going to do any more. See, we don't do commercials. We don't
my
do
God,
ads.
take
We do
a
it at the
breath.
beginning. I'm trying to get it out, man. Most people know where to find it.
I feel like you need to pre-record that and then just hit a button.
It's not how I roll, man.
It's not how you roll.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to check out Super Simpsons show. It's super fun. If you like The Simpsons, you'll like that show. We just talk about The Simpsons a lot. And if you like Greg and I, it's literally just the Serial Chillers, but about Simpsons. Yeah?
Sounds
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got two guests here. You guys know them. You guys love them. They're here battling for the vodka.
There's a real vodka involved.
There is. There's a prize involved tonight. So if you guys remember episode 79, right?
Yeah.
Lindsay,
Uh-huh.
Lindsay was the open drop with Paul Wolf. I'm drinking your fucking vodka.
It scared me, by
Yeah.
the way. Real confused.
And I'll be honest, I was at work and Paul's like, "What the fuck?" And he just like texted me and I was like, "What?" And he's like, well, how's the show start? And I hadn't even listened yet. Greg edits and puts them up, so I hadn't even got there. And so I listened to it and I was like, "Oh, it's just Lindsay." And he's like, "Who?" And I was like, "All right, well, let me fucking let me clear things up for you here real quick." And he's like, "Oh yeah, okay." And so that's how we got to the Battle of the Vodka. They battle it out in the Facebook group. You guys come join that. It's fun as fuck.
It's a closed group. Somebody will accept you.
Thank you, Paul. So welcome back, Lindsay and Paul.
Hi.
Wait. How do I get my own theme music? I've been alive for a while, and in none of my days of life has anybody ever come up to me, who doesn't like me?
There you go. So, welcome back, you guys.
Thank you.
First appearance together, but it's Battle for the Vodka. Lindsay will actually be back next week.
It feels really weird to be here without Bree, to be honest.
Well, you'll be back in your comfort zone next
Yes.
week. So,
I don't want to say I'm better.
I'll fucking fight you.
I said I don't want to say it.
Don't
I mean,
say
she
it.
is, there's butter torts involved in that, so.
Perfect. So, you guys know how the fucking show works. Let me explain it for anybody that doesn't. Each week I sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends, tell them the story of an infamous serial killer. Throughout the show, you guys can chime in on my story, and if you brought a story of your own that is true crime, dark, creepy, unsolved, or otherwise mysterious, please feel free to share it. Lastly, if you have questions about questions, make sure to ask questions, because I cannot answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. Are there any questions? Paul? Welcome to and let's play the Serial Chillers podcast. Yeah. Did you have a legitimate question?
No, like mid-thought, I forgot it, so that worked out.
Perfect. Okay. Today's killer, technically serial in ways. Tell me, have you guys heard of Todd Kohlhepp?
That's a terrible last name. Kohlhepp?
Kohlhepp. KOHLHEPP.
Do you know what that reminds me of?
Do tell.
Cool whip.
Cool whip.
Cool whip.
Cool whip. Why are you saying it like that? I'm saying what? What way? Yes. So Todd Kohlhepp, you guys got your cards?
No. She took them all.
Here. I was gonna say you could reach literally anywhere on the table.
There's
I don't know why you
things
would.
in the way.
Question number 1. In what year was Todd Kohlhepp born? I'll let you know in the season premiere we just ditched the birthday thing. It was too confusing. So just in what year is Todd Kohlhepp born?
That works.
You gonna see it in my eyes? Oh, you already wrote it down. I was like, what the fuck are you looking at?
You're talking. I'm just going to stare at you.
Okay, Lindsay says 1939. Ooh. Paul said 1967 with a look of utter disgust at Lindsay's answer. I had to explain that. I have no idea why he looked so disgusted at your answer. But he was right, because he's getting 250 points. Todd Christopher Kohlhepp was born March 7th, 1971 in Florida to Regina and William Samsel. Samsel. I want to talk to Samsel.
No.
Let's talk Todd Kohlhepp, Paul.
Tods.
So he is raised in South Carolina and Georgia after being born in Florida. His parents divorced when he was 2 years old, and his mother, who got custody of him, married another man the following year. Todd never really liked his stepfather, but he was given his stepfather's last name, Kohlhepp, instead of Samsel. So he is now officially Todd Kohlhepp, I think somewhere around 3 or 4 years old.
Do you just bring me on these divorce episodes to trigger me, or what's your deal, Jesse?
It's for fun.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about when I did this. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking book Lindsay because there's a divorce in this. Welcome to every episode of Serial Chillers podcast, too, by the way. They have to get fucked up somehow. There's the rare ones are the ones where I'm like, yes, childhood was pretty normal. So in his teen years, he started raping. Yeah. So the real answer is no, but
kind of.
Maybe subconsciously,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I'm like, I'm just see what it's like when I can just trigger her every time. I don't know. No, but I'm sorry. Sorry if you're triggered and you're
Does she
mad.
lose more when she's triggered?
No, it gets me fired up. I win. I need to see a therapist, probably.
That's what this is. It's free therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You just you have a vodka soda, and you
For
talk
free.
about murder,
Yeah.
and
I feel a lot better afterwards.
we'll do the damn thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a good time all around, I believe. It's not.
We're not.
Yeah, no, it's
Maybe.
not. So Todd never really got along with his stepfather. He got beat quite a bit, but it's by his own word. There's no real proof that he was, after he murdered people. He's like, yeah, my stepdad beat me too. So all Todd really wanted growing up and getting beat up by his stepdad was to be with his biological father. He hadn't seen him in many years. Todd was a shithead, to say the least. Like, they'd put him in school, and the only way that his teacher said that he could interact with other kids was through anger. There was no playing with kids. It was pushing them down. It was stabbing them with pencils. He was an incredibly violent kid. Let's see. In a nursery school, he was known to be aggressive towards other children and would destroy their property. At the age of 9, when he started undergoing counseling, Kohlhepp was described as being, quote, explosive and preoccupied with sexual content. So at 9.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Seems a little early.
Yeah. He also displayed cruelty to animals, at one point shooting a dog with a high-powered BB gun.
There it is.
And killing a goldfish with Clorox. Apparently his parents got him a goldfish, and he was like, I don't want a fucking goldfish. I want whatever pet he wanted. And they're like, well, you have a goldfish, so deal with it. And one day the goldfish will die, and maybe we'll think about a new pet. And he was like, oh, cool then.
Yeah, one day it'll die.
Glug, 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 and fucking bleached out his goldfish. In modern psychology, cruelty to animals is obviously thought by academics to be a common trait of young psychopathic individuals. If you're listening right now, you knew that, I'm assuming. But, who knows? Who knows? Paul, did you know that?
Well, here's the thing, TM. Usually in the past, when they're killing animals, I'm fine with it. But the second they kill a dog, I'm clearly out. He killed the dog from the start.
Didn't kill the dog. Just shot a dog with a really high-powered BB gun. So
he shot a dog from the start with a really high-powered
Not to
BB
defend
gun.
him, but yes, he did do that. Eventually, in 1983, Kohlhepp was sent to live with his biological father in Arizona after his mother and stepfather separated. So he's 12. Finally got his wish. It's been 10 years, and I don't think he saw him very much in between. So it's been a decade. This guy's not had other kids either. So he's fucking chilling out in Arizona doing his fucking thing. And he's like, you know, my fucking shithead son, I gotta fucking take him because his fucking mom's going crazy. And yeah, so he goes out with his father, and initially it seems like it's going to go pretty well. He does like local jobs with his dad and also inherits his father's very, let's call it interesting hobby. Question number 2.
Murdering.
What was that hobby? Now, this is multiple choice, but
Okay.
you may stab if you would like. A stab is worth 1,000 points. So you stab at it, it's worth 1,000. If you stab, you can't go multiple choice. Anybody want to stab at this? What was his dad's hobby? You may
Okay.
stab if you like, or multiple choice. You guys, you want multiple choice?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's A, photography.
No.
B, weapon collecting. C, hunting. Or D, stamp collecting.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't stab.
None of those were on the radar, huh?
No, I went with welding.
I was going to say taxidermy.
Okay. I was going to say, Paul, that seems like a little more like a career.
Oh, yeah.
So, weird hobby.
It's just father's hobby. I don't know really why I said weird. None of these are particularly weird. Photography, weapon collecting, hunting, stamp collecting. His dad's particular hobby. Paul's got his answer in. Lindsay says stamps. Paul says hunting. His father was a collector of
not
weapons. Of weapons.
Anybody else picture like samurai swords?
Mostly firearms, I believe.
Oh.
Yes. So
Things including maybe a high-powered pellet rifle.
see, that was when he was living with his mom, though. I think it was like, whatever, his Christmas gift, and
And he was going to put his
he
eye
didn't
out.
get the
but
same
instead
warnings
he-
as Ralphie. So
Christmas gifts have changed a lot,
I mean, some kids still get pellet guns for Christmas.
but they're
Some
not.
kids still grow up
they're
to be
not the
serial
same.
killers too.
Truth.
But they're not the same as they used to be. They're a lot. You know.
All right, Grandpa.
And get off my fucking lawn while you're at it. So yeah, his dad was a weapon collector. He also taught his son how to, quote, blow things up and make lots of bombs. That was
So, that's a good dad.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a good stepdad.
Yeah, he had already been
Weird
stepdad.
uncle.
He was just beating him up real good. Then he went with his real dad. He's like, that guy's beating you up. I'm going to show you how to make some fucking bombs and hold guns and stuff.
That's a good dad.
Well, I think that's a good stepdad.
Craig's
No,
gonna
if your
stand for-
stepdad is beating the shit out of you and then your real
No,
dad teaches
I'm
you
not
how to make a
saying-
bomb.
I'm not saying his stepdad's a good stepdad. I'm saying his real dad is a good stepdad.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you're not my kid, so let me teach you how to blow shit up. That way, if you lose
But
fingers,
here's
I don't
the-
feel that bad.
Here's the problem with it is that he was pretty much sent there because he had so much anger issues where he was that he was like non-functional. So they're like, you got to take him. Like he can't function here. He's so much fucking anger. And he's like, you know what I think we need to do?
You're angry?
You ever
Let's
blown
shoot
up the side of a
guns.
mountain?
Let me teach you how to make napalm.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you're gonna dig a hole, and we're gonna fill it in with C4.
Yeah. Despite their loving of weapons collecting and blowing things up together, their relationship slowly deteriorated due to his father's absence with a number of girlfriends. His dad liked women way more than he liked being with his son. That was just kind of his
Yeah.
thing. He had a rotating door of chicks, and Todd was not near to the top 5 priority list. So yeah,
Four other chicks were in front of him.
his dad is a pretty good stepdad. So nobody, despite their relationship breaking down, Todd finally realizes he actually wants to be back with his mom. But his mom did all that she could to prolong him from coming back. So, right. At 12, 13 years old, nobody fucking wants this kid. Like, his dad's trying to get him gone. The mom's like, like 30 more days. I got to figure some shit out. Get some things in line. See the way my checking account works. I got to transfer. So he goes.
So sad.
Finally goes back to his mom, and he's back into like really fucking angry ways because he feels obviously very rejected by his father,
Abandoned, yeah.
and his mom didn't want him to come back. And he's 13. He's not like 4, where he doesn't. When you're 13,
Yeah.
when your parents are like, nah, not quite yet. Bring him back in like another month. So it doesn't go well. He doesn't go back and like become a hermit. In 1986, it'll all come to a head when he commits his first serious crime. Question number 3. I've got 4 crimes for you.
Okay.
He's going to be charged with 3 of them.
Ooh.
One of them was not.
It was
Okay.
unlike the others.
Yes, that's correct. Give me the one that he was not charged with.
Okay.
Here are the 4 options: kidnapping, breaking and entering, sexual assault, dangerous crime against children. Kidnapping, breaking and entering, sexual assault, dangerous crime against children. 3 of those he was charged with. 1 he was not. 1986, he's 15 years old now, by the way. To keep you... Been trying to go less date-like oriented. Okay.
I was hoping ballooning would be an answer.
Lindsay says he did not B&E. Paul says that he did not do any kidnapping. Lindsay is correct.
I did not want to be right. That makes me sick.
Yes. So let's get you your points here. Tied it up at 250.
Thank you, though.
Yeah. Those were for sure the grouped ones. I was even like, as I was writing this, I was like, fuck, like breaking it. To me, it was sticking out like a sore thumb. I never know until people answer them. But to me, it was like, fuck, I can't think of another good 4th option that's not like, it makes me sick too.
Yeah.
On November 25th, 1986, 15-year-old Todd Kohlhepp kidnapped a 14-year-old neighbor girl in his father's town of Tempe, Arizona, when he was there. I read that. He knocked on the girl's door, and she answered. So he knew this girl. They're a similar age. They're 15 and 14. He kind of knew the routine. He goes over and knocks on the door one night, like later in the evening, but not into the AMs. And she answers the door, and he's like, hey, your boyfriend wants to talk to you. He's out here with me. And she's like, oh, cool. And she comes out, and he pulls a .22 revolver on her and is like, come with me. He takes her to his house, and he ties her up, tapes her mouth shut. I believe he tied her to a chair, and he repeatedly raped her. Afterwards, he walked her home and threatened to kill her and her younger siblings if she told anybody about what happened. So 3 doors down. And his dad was never there, remember. He's got these rotating door of chicks that, he's going to see them, apparently. So Todd's got this house in a town that he doesn't.
And this is at 15?
At 15.
Fuck this kid.
Yeah. Just about that being a kid, though. She was smart enough to know that she did need to tell someone, and did. Eventually, a young Kohlhepp was picked up for the crime, and when police arrived to his home, he was armed with a rifle and had to be talked down after asking, how long am I going to get for this? That was his first question when the cops got there. Not like, what's happening? He was just...
This is the kind of person you don't want to talk down.
Yeah.
Let him do it.
Yeah. So, no, he was... he
was going to shoot the other people.
It was for the
not
police.
himself.
Yeah, he wanted to shoot the police, not himself.
Well, I mean, if he shoots at them, they get to shoot at him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. But I think this guy's so narcissistic and in his own head that he's the kind of guy who's like, I could take 20 police officers and I wouldn't miss a single shot. Like, you'll see a lot more when we get into his adult life. Like, narcissism is like diagnosed and there. Like,
I think that goes pretty much like hand in hand with like
psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like...
Also, Paul, don't advocate for suicide by cop.
I didn't advocate by it. I'm just saying
that is what would have happened.
Yeah, that would be the
that's-
likely scenario.
Yeah.
Kohlhepp, I think when the police arrived and he asked, how long am I going to get for this? And was very, the police noted, like, very calm and collected. He wasn't, like, worried that the police were there. He wasn't worried that he just committed a fucking very serious crime. It was just like, yo, how long? Like, it was an annoyance to him.
Yeah.
The courts decide at 15 to try him as an adult. So he is being tried as an adult for this crime. He is charged with kidnapping, sexual assault, and committing a dangerous crime against children. In 1987, he pled guilty to the kidnapping charge, and the other charges were dropped. So he just got the kidnapping charge after all.
Which is like the least offensive of all the charges.
Right. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison and to be registered as a sex offender upon his release. According to court records, Kohlhepp was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder at that time. Question number 4. While he was in, they would also do an IQ test.
I've never gotten this right.
Yes.
I'm never even close.
What was it? No multiple choice. It's just close to the answer is getting 250 points. If you nail it, it is for 1,000. What's Todd Kohlhepp's IQ? Lindsay said 105. Paul said 101. She prices righted him a little bit there.
I don't like it.
And is going to get the points for it because Todd Kohlhepp's IQ was just slightly above average at 118. Yes, so 250 points for Lindsay, taking a 500 to 250 lead over Paul after 4 of 16 questions tonight.
Is anybody else 0 for 3 on that, or is that just me? Just me?
What do you mean you always miss that?
Yeah. Every time.
It's tough.
It's not easy.
It took us like 17 episodes to remember what an average IQ is. Every fucking time we're like, "Hey Greg, can you look that up for me? I can't remember." Which goes to show where my IQ sits on the
I was gonna ask, like, hey,
Well, I feel
wouldn't
like
have answered
already,
for
like,
what's the high and low? Because I don't remember. It's like 160s brilliant.
I don't know what the very high is. I just know that like around 110
100 is like
120.
average.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember like a Sheldon Cooper. I feel like he was like 160s.
Also a fictional character.
yeah,
That's
get the fuck
debatable.
out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Like right now or
No, we can do it later.
So the judge in the case said that Todd Kohlhepp was very bright and should be advanced academically, but behaviorally and emotionally dangerous and could likely not be rehabilitated. Kohlhepp's probation officer wrote a similar description in court papers and added that he felt the world owed him something. So, I mean, it's just...
Fucking millennials, dude.
Well,
So Todd Kohlhepp's attorney in that case would later say that while defending him, he did not believe that his client would go on to do any harm to others in the future.
how'd that go for him?
Wait, you mean his defense attorney thought that?
Yeah.
No way, she'll say. So,
Did it say thought that or said that?
so after Kohlhepp's eventual arrest, much later, 30 years later or so, they would go and ask that guy who once defended him what he thought, and he's like, "I would have never thought. Like, I didn't think that." So that is a more recent quote. As of like this case didn't break until I don't want to really give anything away, but
Spoilers.
later for sure. During his imprisonment, Kohlhepp was initially cited for violations that included some more violent behavior in prison. So he's in prison at 15. He's protected
Like
a little
with
bit.
like in a legit, not a juvenile
He's
facility.
in like a mixed facility from what I
Okay.
understand, but there were times where he was definitely crossing with some of the general, not for extended periods of times, but yeah. I also don't know if that's factual.
It's not
Just
wrong.
do that.
Can
Thank
for
you.
sure say that.
Thank you, Paul.
Probably.
So he spends his time obviously doing his damn thing. After turning 20, there are no real records of disobedience. I think he realized it's just going to be easier if he just fucking puts his head down and gets through this. Question number 5. In what year was Todd Kohlhepp released? He went into custody in 1987. I'll give you that. Or should I say, in what year?
I like that
Todd
better.
Kohlhepp released.
Feels better.
Thank you.
Are you doing math over there? What are you doing?
I am.
Just staring in a corner of the ceiling like,
I was counting on my fingers. I didn't want you guys to see that though.
which fingers? The ones under the table?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Okay, Paul says 1991. Lindsay says 1993.
Stop. Really? Again?
Another Price is Right topper, and another way to get 250 points because Todd Kohlhepp served nearly his entire charged 15 years and was released in August of 2001.
That's why you do the fucking math, Paul.
14 years.
What math
or
did you end
so.
up doing? Did
Just
you
the-
add 15 years
Just
to
more,
whatever year
just,
you
right
more,
math.
just more than you. All right,
I'm going to wait till she answers from
All right.
now on and just copy hers and add 1.
that's not how you do it.
She
Paul.
did the right math.
You did that.
All right, Lindsay's got 3 straight correct and is now up 750 to 250.
Guys, this isn't going well.
Jesse and I were in the same substandard math class. He knows how good I am at it.
So he had actually a really productive prison life while he was in. In August 2001, he was released from prison after serving his 14 of his 15 years. He moved to South Carolina, where his mother was living. During his time being imprisoned, he attended and graduated from Central Arizona College with a bachelor's degree in computer science. Bitch, you can go to fucking prison and get a degree? Like a real one? Not like
Yeah.
a trade degree?
Yeah.
Because like I could see...
Yeah, but they pay you like 2 cents an hour too for work.
Yeah, but once you get out, if you're a guy who's not a lifer, you're out with a bachelor's. Like,
But if you're a felon,
Yeah, but I mean,
It's hard to get a job.
Well,
Not that I'm like a prisoner sympathizer, but
yeah. But
just saying.
Yeah, I don't have a degree. I also don't have any felonies, which is dope. Anybody want to give me a job? Just holler at me, 1-805-666-2513. So from January of 2002 to November of 2003, he worked as a graphic designer for a company in Spartanburg. He began studying in Greenville Technical College in 2003. Kohlhepp transferred to the University of Southern Carolina upstate the following year and graduated in 2008 with another bachelor's in science in business administration and marketing. So he's a double bachelor's now. He's also a psychopath still. Question number 6. What career will Kohlhepp settle into? He's going to settle into one of these careers. You can stab for 1,000 points. I've got a list, multiple choice. For
I would like the list.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
My stabs have not been on
The
point.
vodka's starting to get to me. Give me the multiple choice.
Own a restaurant? Was he in real estate? Was he a weapons dealer? Or was he just in marketing?
Fuck you.
Yeah. Up and down on those questions. I mean, thank you. That means that was a good question that I asked. Own a restaurant, real estate, weapons dealer, marketing. Lindsay says marketing. Paul says real estate. Paul's getting back on the board. Yes, he gets into real estate. Despite
good.
being registered as a sex offender, Kohlhepp was able to get a real estate license on June 30th, 2006 after lying about the felony charge on his application.
I could just see him, dude. Is this house in a good school district? Fuck, I wouldn't know. I'm not allowed to be within like 500 feet of a school, so.
Just like, hey, can we meet down the street from the house?
I'll give you the keys and you could go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just wait here at the end of the block, and then, you come back and tell me if you liked it or not.
No, I measured it out. See the chalk line? I just have to stay behind that.
If you have questions, come out here.
How are you liking it?
Is that a thumbs up?
I can't really see it.
It's before texting.
So yeah, he's got the felony. So when they saw background checks weren't necessary, but he admitted to having a felony. But essentially, he admitted because it was a kidnapping charge. They could see that. He just said he and his girlfriend went for a walk. His girlfriend. And the police rolled up on him because her parents didn't know that she left, so they reported her missing. And he had the gun on him because it was like kind of a rough neighborhood, and he was scared of gangs.
Because why don't you, if you're walking at night, why wouldn't you be strapped?
Yeah, that was pretty much.
I always am, you guys. Just know that.
Yeah,
Just in case.
Just in case.
I'm a little scared of winning tonight, guys.
You're gonna get mugged on your way out.
Give me that vodka.
She's gonna win the vodka and then take your wallet in the parking lot.
Just bash you over the skull with it. That's a good look at that shit. That's got a perfect handle grip right there.
Stop! Don't give her ideas.
The idea's already out there. She would have figured. She wouldn't have hit you with it like this.
What if she did? I could have lived. Now I'm dead. Thanks, Jesse.
Okay, you fuckers.
This is rough for you, Greg.
So yeah, he got through it by essentially lying about the severity of his kidnapping case. Essentially, he said like, end of the day, nobody was pissed at me that it happened, but I had to be charged because the police came out, blah, 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 blah. So I guess the real estate board was like, yeah, that seems legit, and just went with his story. So
Didn't notice the multiple years in jail on his.
I guess not.
Yeah.
So from getting his real estate license, he would build a firm that would eventually have over a dozen agents in its employment. He had began being recognized as a top-selling agent in the Carolina region, and his firm would eventually get closed down after his arrest. He was like the real estate guy. Like in his area, the police that got like interviewed in all of the documentaries and stuff, like, yes, I did buy a home from him. That is correct. Like they all like, and in the interviews where the people didn't, they're like, and he's pretty big in real estate. Like, is that the kind of guy you would have called if you were looking to buy a home? And they're like, that would have been the first person.
Now do the accent again.
He's on the billboards. You don't get to tell me when to do it. It'll just happen, right? That's the beauty of it. So he was very well known. Like I can't think of somebody in town, but to me, it's like local newscasters here.
Vic Vinegar.
Yeah, Vic Vinegar. Yep, exactly.
Do you think?
Honey and vinegar.
Do you think he hired felons?
From what I know, no. He had a very reputable operation. It was very lucrative. He's a very wealthy
like,
from
"Fuck
this
those
business. Yeah.
You
Fuck those
got a felony?
felons.
Come on, that's not the look we're going for here, bub.
That very well.
No,
could have
man, I
been
was
his
just
way.
walking my girlfriend home, and I had a gun on me because it was a dangerous neighborhood. And he's like, "Yeah,
Heard it
yeah,
once, heard it
was.
again." So Kohlhepp
I wrote that excuse, pal.
would also acquire his private pilot license and own several properties across several states. In May of 2014, he purchased a nearly 100-acre parcel of land located in an area 9 miles from Moore, South Carolina. He then built a fence around the entire property, which cost around $80,000 to build a fucking 100-acre property, chain link, like heavy-duty fence. This dude, he wanted to have a compound. That was like his thing. So that was his start. Like, buy 100 acres, put a fucking Nard fence around it, and like think when
So
you're
when you
driving
say
up to
that these
Auburn.
guys- The Pelco guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Who
When you say that these guys want to have
Falco guy.
a compound and stuff, it sounds so Jonestowny, so Waco, you know. But it's really it's just a guy who wants privacy. Like, I know that's where I'm at. Like, I would
where it
love to
starts,
have
Greg.
I would love to have a compound.
Well, I think the thing too is that he didn't
Then he's gonna want a second wife, and then
permanently
Just
live
snowballs
Lindsay
from there.
Mouse cult. So yeah, he's got this crazy compound he's starting, but he doesn't live on it. He's got like a barn with a loft apartment and like a shipping container. That's all that's on the property.
not suspicious at all.
Right. And there's no electricity. It's all solar, so he's not on the grid there. Technically, it's like all the electricity that's run at the property is all run from the panels that are on the property.
Honestly, when you said 2014, like my eyes were like, I was very surprised.
Yeah, like that. It's so recent.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's when he bought the property. We're not even at the end of like where these crimes are coming up. So. After building the fence, his compound was kind of complete for him, besides, clearing some of the land of trees and brush and things like that. A customer who sold her home to Kohlhepp, the one he lives in kind of permanently, remembered him as extremely outgoing and professional, but noted that he would often talk about his firearms and sometimes subtly use sexual innuendos during their conversations. He would also be incredibly narcissistic, turning the conversation to talking about himself, sometimes for over 30 minutes. So they'd be on the phone like, yeah, so I'll get that sent over, you get the paperwork and the check to you by Monday. And he'd be like,
He's just saying stuff like, "You want to see me cock my pistol, babe?"
yeah, like that's almost exactly it. And then he would just turn it into like, I bought a new motorcycle this week and was thinking about taking it up to the mountains. Someone would be pretty nice to have someone on the back of it, and it was just
Feel
like
the vibration.
He just turned it into him menial small conversations that should have been taken 5 seconds. He was turning into 30-minute conversations about his guns and his private license and himself. So he's a narcissistic psychopath. A woman who assisted him with Kohlhepp's employees being hired described him as angry and condescending towards her male partner. So she was like a consultant for the company, but she was there a lot. And he was like very sweet to her, but sometimes a little bit inappropriate, kind of how the other woman said. But like when she would come around with her husband or boyfriend, whatever it was, Todd was like a fucking asshole to this guy. Like he treated him like a piece of shit. Like, it was very clear, like he was into this chick and he did not like the fact that she had someone else. A banker who also worked with the company said that Kohlhepp would often watch pornographic videos even at work. Like very obviously, just like in his office, watching porn. Okay, so yes, he's watching pornographic videos. Paul knows someone of similar stature.
Wasn't me.
Question number 7. All right, thank you, Shaggy. He is going to creep out all of the waitresses at a restaurant that he frequents. Which fine dining establishment is it? You can stab at it if you like, which Paul looks like he wants to do, but I do have multiple choice options for you.
Oh,
It's like a chain.
It is a chain.
You said fine dining.
There may have been some sarcasm on fine. I'm not sure if you picked that up there.
No, I
missed it.
did not. So thank you.
It is not fine dining. It is a place that has waitresses. There is a multiple choice list here, but if you want to shoot for the stars, Lindsay's got 750. Paul has 500. We're 6 of 16 questions through. Multiple choice? Did you already write yours down?
Yeah, but I'm gonna do multiple choice.
Wait,
okay.
start over.
Oh my God.
So he's essentially, there's a restaurant nearby he frequents, and he has creeped out all of the waitresses inside of that restaurant.
We've all been there.
They don't even want to help him anymore.
Oh.
What restaurant is it?
Where is he living right now? In the South?
Yeah, South Carolina.
Ooh, that could be a Cracker Barrel. That place is so good.
What the fuck, Paul?
That's not what I wrote down. Don't worry about it.
That's what I was gonna write down.
Write it down.
God damn it.
Still wrong.
So we're gonna stab.
No.
Paul wants multiple choice. You want multiple choice?
No, I'm gonna say Cracker Barrel. Fucking thanks, dude.
Lindsay says Cracker Barrel. The multiple choice options for Paul are Denny's, Waffle House,
Ooh, I've never been there.
Shoney's, or Bennigan's.
Fuck you.
Ha! You look so stupid.
So Lindsay will not get any points on question number 7.
Well, my fake stab was going to be Applebee's. I'm going to go with Bennigan's.
Paul says Bennigan's and does not score any points
Because
either.
it was Denny's.
That's
Because
what makes me
kohlhepp,
believe in a Jesus.
he creeped out the waitresses at the Waffle House restaurant in
See,
Roebuck,
I've never
South
been there.
Carolina, where his behavior disturbed the waitresses to the point where the male cook would come out and take the orders. The waitresses would not even interact with him.
That means he's a
Been
poor
there,
tipper,
girl.
too. Because if he's at least a good
He's-
tipper,
he
like you're
is-
going to put up with it.
No, like
I've
that was
dealt
the
with a
problem.
lot of
Is
creeps
that
for
he
a
was
good
an
tip,
incredible
yeah.
tipper, but he was so fucking creepy.
Oh,
that
really?
everyone- Yeah.
That's a whole. I mean, granted, I'm a.
That's a level of creep that Paul only aspires to be.
Yeah, that's the dream, guys.
He wants to be so creepy that he can tip big and they won't come back.
Yeah. Hey, if I ever text
He
Jesse,
only
be like,
tips
"It
him
happened."
once. He's like, "That's right. I'm never gonna see her again." But that was 100.
Sir, you didn't pay your bill. Yeah, but I left just the tip.
So
If I ever text you, I'm just like, "It happened." Now you know what happened.
cool. According to one of his employees, one of the waitresses who he creeped out so badly was Megan Lee McCraw Coxey. She would eventually become one of his victims. So let's take a break here. Hella Greg has a fucking wild one for us, so we'll come back and let him tell us that. Hella Greg is also, for season 4, going to be bringing a question that lands on the scoreboard. So of the 16 questions today, only 15 were brought by me. Greg has written a question for his story. So
That's right. You're in my house now.
I always get your questions right.
for a moment, you'll be.
That didn't sound creepy at all.
Someone's in your house. Someone's in your house.
Sounds
remember
like you and
that.
Paul should go out
I
together.
remember
sometime.
that. You told me to. What CD was that on?
Newfound Glory.
Yeah, and you told me about it, and I fell asleep
Yeah, that's
while waiting for it one time, and then I woke up to that.
That's like the
Terrifying.
story of like how everybody found that hidden track
Yeah.
because they fell asleep
What?
listening. The
don't
hidden
remember
track
what
of
city it
Sticks and
was.
Stones.
Yeah.
Newfound Glory.
It's like 45 minutes.
I'll
after
show
the
it to
end
you.
of the
Let's-
last
we'll-
song.
let's-
I don't need to see it.
It's-
Thank-
yeah,
thank
okay.
you.
It's an audio.
We'll throw it a break here.
I don't need to hear it.
Greg's got a story he's going to tell. It is conspiracy related for those of you who have been asking for that. So
Yeah, boy.
come back
We
or I'll kill you.
You won't.
Makeup on your face. You left me with a taste of regret on my lips, blood held between fingertips. I see you sitting in your solid room on this cold dark night. I see you sipping on that vodka. It's gonna make you feel alright. Getting high, yeah, you make me feel alive. Spinning records all the time. You could stay with me tonight. Getting high, yeah, you make me feel alive. Spinning records all the time. You could stay with me tonight. What you really wanna know about me? Can't you see I'm dripping like I'm fucking saucy? I just wanna get to know you. Girl, just let me show you. Just wanna be your go-to. Driving to the coast and I'm looking to my right. You're looking pretty good. I be rocking off white, yeah. Running through my mind like a track meet all night. Stacking all these hundreds to the motherfucking sky, yeah. What's the plan? Tell me what it do. I can't include myself if it ain't including you, oh man. Can you pour another cup, please? Turn the system up, please. Chilling out on Long Beach. Got this rollie in my hand, I've been smoking guitar. I drive back home and think of times when it was simpler from the start. Getting high, yeah, you make me feel alive. Spinning records all the time, you could stay with me tonight. Getting high, yeah, you make me feel alive. Spinning records all the time, you could stay with me tonight. Can you pour another cup, please? Turn the system up, please. Chilling out on Long Beach. I'll be driving to the bank now, moving hella dank now. Looks like I'm about to cash out.
Welcome back, everybody. Season premiere is still going strong and running long. Probably not for you, but definitely for us. So we're back with a story from Hella Greg. It hasn't been very long, but it just feels like it's been forever since we've done this. Like, it feels like, man, Greg's going to tell me a story right now. It feels like it's been so long. It hasn't. It's been a couple weeks. Welcome back. Greg's got what I've heard, a conspiracy tale and a question to start it all off, right?
Yes.
All right. Take it away. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So the question is, which conspiracy is this guy famously involved in? And so his name is Milton William Cooper. I'll give you that much. And for, for what it's worth, he was born May 6, 1943. And he died November 5th, 2001, at 58 years old. So it's a multiple choice question. The options are the JFK assassination, HIV and AIDS, UFOs and aliens, or all of the above.
Ooh. What's he involved in, y'all? Read them back one more time, Greg.
The JFK assassination, HIV and AIDS, UFOs and aliens, or all of the above.
I'm going to go with the HIV.
Yeah?
All of the above.
That seems like the right answer.
That is the right answer.
Yeah, that sounds
250 points for Lindsay. She takes a 1,000 to 500 lead.
I have that few?
Yes.
I feel like I had more.
No.
It's Bill Cooper, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's what?
Just start listening to last podcast, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, so you know Bill Cooper.
I'm really busy.
Lindsay's an avid LPOTL listener.
Okay.
She's
That's cool. Yeah.
Got
Well,
the rundown.
I heard about him on there, and so I got his book and I started reading it, and I'm a fucking poor reader, so it's taking me a long time. But he's
Should
a
look in
very
the
interesting
audiobooks.
guy. So I totally bought it on Audible without reading the reviews, and the review said 1 star, incomplete book, and I looked, and it was like 2 hours and 13 minutes, and I'm like, well, that's not enough time.
That's not at all.
So
That's awesome.
So fuck, but yeah, he was involved in a lot of this stuff because he took it on in his book, this book that I'm struggling to get through, called Behold a Pale Horse, and
I don't really like
basically
horses.
it's full
Get the
of
fuck
his
out of here,
hot takes.
Jesse.
I don't. They
I feel like
scare
I
me.
knew that.
Sorry, Greg.
Like from The
What?
Ring.
We'll talk about it later.
Like
Sorry.
I feel like we watched The Ring once, years, recently. And the horses in the ocean, like you hated that scene.
That's a terrible scene.
I don't like. I seriously like two things. Like give me like I would say that I am afraid of, and they are like the ocean and fucking horses. But let's not dive into that too much right
That's
now.
another
Sorry,
side story.
Greg, yeah.
That's not what this is about.
Yeah, Bill Cooper, huh? Tell me more.
So he asserted that JFK was assassinated because he was about to reveal that the extraterrestrials were in the process of taking over Earth,
Oh shit.
and that he was gonna blow the whistle on that, and they were like, well, we can't have that, so they killed him. According to a quote unquote top secret video of the assassination that Cooper claimed to have, the driver of the presidential limousine, William Greer, used, quote, a gas pressure device developed by aliens to shoot the president from a driver's seat.
Ah.
Yeah. And if you watch the Zapruder film, it shows Greer twice looking back into the back seat of the car which Cooper said was him turning to assess Kennedy's status after the first external attack, and then to fire the fatal shot.
Zapruder has been totally like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like remastered. You can see that shit in like real.
You can go on YouTube and you can watch, and it'll go frame by frame and stabilized, and it'll tell you, it'll number the frames in the bottom corner. It's amazing.
Back
however,
and to the left.
It's that's what's available on YouTube. So, take that for what it's worth, because it's probably put out there by the man. And if you were any sort of person who knows what William Cooper is, then, you're right there and you're like, well, who fucking cares what's on YouTube? Because,
if it was real, they wouldn't let it be up there.
All right. Sorry, Greg. Bill Cooper.
So his conspiracy theories, getting Greer snowballed after the publication of his book, but videos that were trying to prove his theory were analyzed by several television stations, including, according to one source, and was found to be, quote, a poor quality fake using chunks of the Zapruder film, which sounds exactly like you'd expect somebody who works for a television station, aka the mainstream media, to react to some real life footage like that, is to just dismiss it as crazy.
Fucking love you, Greg.
I'm just saying.
You're not wrong. That's
I know.
for sure.
I know I'm not wrong.
Don't encourage it.
There's a lot of stuff I'm wrong about, but some of this stuff was not it.
No arguments on this side of the table.
He also had some hot takes on the HIV and AIDS situation. In his book, he claimed that AIDS was the result of a conspiracy to decrease the population of African Americans, Hispanics, and homosexuals. And it actually gained enough traction that in the year 2000, South Africa's Minister of Health received criticism for distributing the chapter discussing the theory to senior South African government officials.
I'm not like mad at that theory though, honestly. Out of all
that for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, people have been fucking, and all of a sudden, 30, 40 years ago.
Well, and our government has also like proven that they're perfectly fine testing on people who are not aware. Like the whole fucking.
Well, I mean, when you look at the people that are affected by it, and yeah,
oh yeah. I mean, you could do a whole show on just the statistics that go into proving that the government's behind all of it. But he also, Bill Cooper also said that they like had a cure for it. Because obviously, if you're gonna create a disease, you got to create a cure, and then you limit the cure, and then let the disease run rampant, and then you distribute the cure to those who can afford it.
But who's been cured by it? No one.
First,
he had the money. There's been rumors of like different physicians around the world that have come up with a cure for. I don't remember if it's HIV or AIDS or both, and
they've all been suicided.
Yeah, then suddenly they're dead.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed that like when they started talking about that, there's it's a cell that they inject and it basically starts replicating and eliminates that stuff, and then once it's gone, it dies, or it was some fucking crazy science thing that I didn't quite understand, but it basically meant the end of HIV. And as that's coming up and becoming more prevalent and stuff like what you're talking about, where there's actually cures and they're figuring out ways to treat and cure the disease, stuff that we already have cures for is making a huge comeback, like measles and shit like that, because people aren't vaccinating their kids. And I just think it's a nice diversion. That like, okay, here we're curing AIDS. Well, fuck, we can't use AIDS anymore. So what are we gonna do? Use the shit that they think, like make them think that they're doing it wrong already and get them sick that way. I don't know. There's more to it.
No, I feel you, dude. They don't want cures. They want customers.
Yeah, totally.
Like, don't get me wrong. Big Pharma has its fucking negative things, but insurance is right there next to it.
Yeah. Oh,
side by side.
I think insurance would play almost more of a role.
The system is broke, is really what you're saying.
100%, and you can't fix it because.
But it's sad. No, Greg, like I totally see. You know what I mean? Where you're going with that for sure.
Yeah, and the system really can't be fixed because if the system were to be fixed, these products would cease to exist.
Yeah.
Or they would, I'm sorry, they would still exist. They would 100% still exist. They just wouldn't be available to the common person, even at an exorbitant price.
That's what I'm curious about with like universal health care.
Uh-huh.
I haven't looked into it like with Canada or whatnot, but like how do they decide what drugs are covered for that insurance, for the universal coverage? Who chooses that?
Well, I mean, I think the whole thing is making like the pharmaceuticals affordable for the common person. Or
a lot of that is insurance, though.
Yeah, no, I know. And
don't get me wrong,
it's the same
sides,
as like you go into the hospital for
when you ruined your ankle. Hey, you want an ice bag? How much? $300. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Where an ibuprofen costs $80.
Yeah.
When I broke my leg, I turned down everything that they literally. I didn't get a cast. I didn't take crutches. I didn't take ice. I didn't take the painkillers, and it was $3,200.
Yeah.
And so much of that is malpractice insurance, because we live in an overly litigious society where if somebody was in there and they didn't get that kind of treatment, where they didn't get the ice pack and they didn't get the crutches, but not because they turned it down, because they just weren't offered, they would absolutely turn around and sue. And those doctors would be out. I mean, hospitals would be shutting down day after day. People would be getting fired left and right because they wouldn't be able to afford to have any staff, because the insurance to keep, you know what I mean? Like the malpractice
like the
insurance
umbrella,
is so high.
The insurance umbrella.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wouldn't pencil out financially. So they have to charge these crazy amounts. And that's ridiculous. And that's part of the system being broken, is that you can't fix it, because if you fix it, the whole thing will collapse.
You see what Bill Cooper has turned the show into, you guys?
I don't know. Greg is making a lot of sense right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted people to not want your conspiracy show to come out. Way to go, man. Way to go.
Link in description.
So I'm not even done. We haven't even touched on UFOs.
Oh, I know.
Aliens.
I know.
Season
premiere is gonna be a long one. Fuck it, bro. Let's do this.
He made quite a splash in like 1988. He claimed to have seen secret documents while in the Navy describing government dealings with extraterrestrials, on a topic that he expanded on in Behold a Pale Horse. But according to one account, he was a low-level clerk in the Navy and would not have had access to this stuff.
What if he was a sneaky low-level clerk?
Well, that's the thing. In his book, he says kind of the opposite. He didn't say he was a low-level clerk, and he didn't say he was, some Billy Badass. He just said that, he worked in a capacity that he had access to this kind of information, because he basically agreed to play the game. He saw something one time while they were out at sea, and reported it like you're supposed to, not knowing what it was. And then he said some officers showed up and asked some questions, and when they asked him what he saw, he told them the truth. And he said the officer, who's like, I mean, according to him, officers are basically poised all the time. These guys are supposed to maintain all the time.
Professionals.
Yeah, consummate professionals. These are the guys that sit there in the courtrooms in their dress uniforms and stuff like that. They're not the guys that are out there giving orders in the field and stuff and on the deck of the ship. So when they docked, this guy came in, sat him down in a private room, just him and this guy, and he says, what did you see? And he tells him, I saw this disc come up out of the water. I saw it fly around. I saw it drop back down into the water. I saw it come back up out of the water. Saw it do this. We were here. It was there. Here's about the approximate size, given how far apart we appeared to be. Would have been, this, that, and the other thing. So he's giving him all these details. And the officer just starts screaming at him, loses his shit, threatens his life, threatens his family, threatens all kinds of shit. And just as quickly as he fell apart, he pulled it back together. And he was like, no, I'm going to ask you again. What did you see? And he said, nothing, sir, nothing at all. And he said, exactly, you're dismissed. And he was like, well, then I knew it was real. Like
he said, and then he called me a little bitch.
Yeah, he smacked me in the back of the head as I walked out. But a lot of people in the UFO circles said that his material was stuff that the stuff that he said he saw in the naval intelligence documents was actually plagiarized verbatim from their own research, including several items that ufologists had fabricated as pranks, like false information that they purposely disseminated
To see where it's coming from.
Yeah. which makes me question why somebody who's so concerned with the pursuit of truth, like a ufologist, would purposely disseminate false information. That sounds like a government technique.
Knowledge dropped.
Well, I mean, fuck, dude. Like,
When you're questioning the questioners, it's a whole nother level.
I'm just saying, I started questioning all this shit, and now my computer doesn't work.
Is this a coincidence?
No,
you
man.
just need
Too
an
many
upgrade?
coincidences is not a coincidence.
He has always said that. When people say I've always said that, they really normally haven't, but Greg really has always said
Right,
that.
no, I always say I've always said that, but rarely have I always said what I've always said.
Yeah. So anyway, this guy, he died a natural death. He was shot
Pretty natural.
In the mouth.
in a shootout with the feds.
Yeah, you're like almost not wrong, Paul.
What'd he say?
In the mouth.
No, he basically, the story is he got home and the feds like closed in on him. He said he was being personally targeted by Bill Clinton and the IRS, which I feel that IRS one, bro. Like, just on a real note, I feel like I'm being personally targeted by the IRS too. So you know,
Please
fuck
don't
them.
die in a shootout.
My whole thing is, why can't like computer hackers do some shit for good? Why can't they hack the IRS and be like, you know what?
Money
Or
for
like
everybody.
like if you're gonna hack into Capital One, why not just blow out everybody's balance? Oh fuck, we have no idea how much anybody owes. I guess, you know, oops.
Come on, Anonymous.
Well, yeah, like if you're gonna do something, like don't hack into Sony's emails. Who gives a shit? Hack into Capital One and blow out everybody's balance so nobody owes anything.
Sally
You'll be a
Mae, they're
fucking
like
hero.
the student loan people, right?
Yeah, yeah. See, like do something positive. You know, don't
Chase
be a
Bank.
fucking prick.
Chase Bank. Chase
Come
Bank.
on.
Chase Bank, guys. Do
Best
Chase
Buy.
Bank. No, I don't have that yet.
So anyway, in 1998, Cooper was charged with tax evasion. He had an arrest warrant issued. He eluded repeated attempts to serve it, and in 2000 was named a quote major fugitive by the United States Marshals Service.
Oh, but they didn't put him on the top 10 most wanted list?
Nah, man. Well, no, because if they're not gonna, they don't want to give him that much press.
Ah, I see.
You know, like this guy knows stuff that you don't want people to know. And the only reason I feel so strongly that he knows stuff that they don't want people to know is because he died in a shootout with them. But if you hear them tell it, it plays out a little different.
How do they tell it?
What's that?
How do they tell it?
They say that when they pulled up on him, he got home, he ran inside and retrieved an AK-47 that was behind, that he kept by the front door, and he opened fire, shot a marshal in the head, and so they killed him.
But a marshal did die, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And Bill Cooper was definitely shooting the gun that killed the marshal. And they definitely killed him.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
if I'm not saying what they said is wrong. I'm just saying if you listen to the way they tell it, you gotta. It's putting the right emphasis on the right syllables spins the whole story.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The same story can be told by two different people and be two majorly different stories.
Saying that he was at home and rushed by federal agents on his own property who served a no-knock warrant for no good goddamn reason other than tax evasion is, especially in I think he was in Arizona, and I'm pretty sure Arizona has the castle doctrine where you can defend your shit reasonably. So it would stand to reason that you'd fight back. Yeah. But if you hear them tell it, he saw them, then retrieved the gun, and so and the only people that were there who really know were Bill Cooper and that guy that got shot who had a jacket on that had a federal agent on it. It said federal agent on it.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
like how you said that as if he wasn't a federal agent. It was a guy with a jacket that said federal agent on it.
If you get into his book, he talks about extra governmental agencies and stuff like that because there's people operating outside the government in
clandestine groups, bro.
I mean, yeah. So that kind of stuff totally exists. But yeah, he had like a whole like dead man switch in place on his book so that when he died, like the original copies would be distributed, not stuff that had been edited and tampered with and stuff like that. So, and it's set up through like, oh fuck, what are they called? Like shell organizations and companies, and like so that it can't really be traced back to the person who's actually doing the work. It's just somebody who knew him during his life.
Damn.
So yeah, fucking check him out. He's a cool dude.
There's a really great last podcast. They did a series, right? I want to say it was at least 2 parts.
If you want to know more about Bill Cooper, that was a good series to listen to for sure.
Yeah, I definitely didn't do it justice because there's so much that goes into it, and also buy the book especially if you're a strong reader.
Not the Audible version.
Especially if you're a strong reader.
It's not that it's a boring book. It's just that I'm not a strong reader.
I think it's, from what I've heard, like pretty intense book.
It's a very intense book.
Yeah.
Greg's a very intense guy. He's got this.
I like that.
Greg, I got a question.
What you don't know is I did most of this from memory. I barely used my notes.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. Very, very good starter story for anybody who wants to get into Bill Cooper. Yeah. On November 6, 2003, a customer found 4 people shot to death inside a motorcycle store called Superbike Motorsports. It was in Chesney, South Carolina. The victims were identified as owner Scott Ponder, who was 30 years old, service manager Brian Lucas, who was also 30, mechanic Chris Sherbert, who was 26, and bookkeeper Beverly Guy, who was 52 and was Scott Ponder's mother. All 4 died from multiple gunshot wounds. Before Todd Kohlhepp confessed to the shootings in 2016, investigators believed that a gunman armed with a pistol entered the shop from the back and killed Sherbert as he worked on a motorcycle. That is, they found him slumped over it, essentially. It was like put in the back, put up on a rack, and the mechanic was slumped over this motorcycle that he had been working on just before he was killed. They found Beverly Guy in the middle of the showroom. It looked like she may have been ambushed leaving the bathroom. Brian Lucas was in the main doorway, and Scott Ponder had made it out near the parking lot. Both Brian and Scott looked like they had seen the attack happening from the back and tried to run out and didn't make it. According to Ponder's wife, Kohlhepp was a disgruntled customer who had been in the shop several times. According to Kohlhepp's mother, he attempted to return a motorcycle there that he couldn't ride. Like, he bought a bike too big for himself. He couldn't handle it. And he took it back, and they were like, no, you can't fucking return it. And they kind of like, they gave him a bunch of shit for like, you bought a motorcycle and you can't even ride it? Like, well, the fuck? Who are you, dude? Like, who is, look at this guy. And Kohlhepp was like, you know, he's a psychopath. He took it very fucking personally.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, that they get. Yeah.
Well, how are you supposed to learn?
A narcissistic psychopath.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to learn to ride a motorcycle if you don't own a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Don't say a friend owns one.
I don't know, but you don't buy the biggest one on the fucking showroom floor if you don't know what you're doing, and I think that's what Kohlhepp did.
You maybe start on like a 50 or like a 125,
Right?
And work your way up.
That
like
Those
seriously,
numbers.
you make friends, ride your friend's dirt bike, see if that works.
I gotta make
And,
friends.
and another thing too is that once he tried to return it,
Don't try that.
and wasn't able to, not but a few weeks later, it was stolen. So Kohlhepp had in his mind that the shop knew he couldn't even fucking handle it and had come and stolen it from him.
Mm-hmm.
So that added to the little fuel to the fire.
You know what I really think happened?
What?
I think he wrecked it, or like slid it, or at least laid it down at some point, or maybe just tipped it over on the kickstand or some shit. And then tried to take it back, and they were like, "Dude, you wrecked the bike. Why we can't take it back?" And he was like, "Fine, then I'm not going to make any payments on it anymore." And then he stopped making payments on it, so they went and repossessed it. That's what I think happened.
Man, Greg's just on it tonight, huh? He's that's a good take. Good take. So there's some fucky stuff that happens with the investigation initially that, in my opinion, would probably hold up the real investigation and make this unsolved for as long as it did. One of the main things that can be understood to a certain extent, but the guy who found everybody, Noel Lee, he had like called into the shop to say he was bringing some tickets to a sporting event, I think. So they were expecting him, and in between the time that he called and arrived, they were all murdered. And so when he got there, I know, that's fucking hilarious, dude. So
It's like straight out of a movie.
yeah, no, that's exactly what it's like. And so he gets there and he freaks out because remember, two of them are like outside of the store. Like one is almost to the parking lot. And so he sees them and he's not sure if they're dead or alive. He's not like medically trained and he just is in a panic. So he runs past them like, I'm going to get you guys help. Runs inside from the store phone, calls 911. I was trying to get the 911 call, but all the places it is that are in documentaries that put super intense music behind it, and I was like, fuck it. But he's like you could tell the guy's in shock. He's like, I'm here at Superbike, and apparently everybody's just been murdered here. Like he's to me, it sounds like he's fucking tripping out. These are like his friends. He's like
He's not processing.
yeah, he's not like he's freaking
No,
out.
this is
And-
good. It's making me like sober up super fast right now.
And he's like talking to them, remember? So he's like on 911 describing what he's seeing, and he's like on 911 because he's seen the two guys out there, and then he sees Beverly Guy in the middle of the showroom floor. So then he's on with the operators like, oh, there's there's the third person here. She's dead. And he said, but he's such a regular that he knows that there should be a fourth person at the store. So he tells the 911 operator like, there should be a fourth person. And she's like, get out. Because, at this point it might look like it's that fourth person. So essentially when police come, they look at Noel Lee super hard because he had one thing they made a really big deal out of was that he had a cell phone in his pocket, but he ran inside to use the store phone. So that was kind of a huge deal. Like, why you were just inside, right? And you just use this phone, whatever.
But I mean, like you're in shock,
right? And that was his whole thing. Was like, I use the store phone a lot to call. I don't use my phone because whatever minutes. So I've used this phone a million times.
And I
so
feel like especially like maybe from our generation.
Well, this is like 03.
Like your
people are still rocking Nokia phones.
But like, I mean, like your default, like my default would be, even if I had a cell phone, if a landline was nearby, I would immediately run to that.
Sure.
Because that would be like my default.
That in your mind was probably the much more reliable phone in
Exactly.
03 anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, there were minute restrictions back then.
It really was. Like, I remember that shit. It was like, oh, I'll call you after 7. Like, I get free nights and weekends. Like, it was real
911.
shit.
Oh,
Does that count as minutes
I
or?
feel like that's free.
Yeah.
Probably free.
So that was like a really big thing. Obviously, the fact that he found the bodies was a really big thing. He had no alibi before. He was just at his house, like hanging out or whatever. Called them, to come drop off these tickets. So I think they got really hung up on him. I think they thought that he did it and that they needed to focus a lot on him. So at the beginning, that was a big thing. I think for a few weeks they were really focused on Noel Lee, and these are his friends. So he's his big thing was like I never got a chance to mourn because the second the police got there, I was suspect number one, and for several weeks that did not go away. Another problem came to be with this case as well, also a police error in my opinion. Question number 9. There's going to be some type of human error that caused a lot of hardship for another of the victim's family. What happened? Is it A, mislabeled DNA causing a bad test? B, misinterpreting evidence and bringing false accusations? C, ignoring evidence that led to someone slipping away? Or D, a tampered with crime scene? Mislabeled DNA, misinterpreting evidence, ignoring evidence, or tampering with the crime scene. There's some type of human error that's going to cause some shit.
I thought it was going to wind up being something like having to exhume the body.
Paul says, ignoring evidence that led to someone slipping away. Lindsay said, mislabeled DNA causing a bad test. And Lindsay is going to take a further lead, getting 250 points. What?
Oh, did you look at the wrong letter on my thing?
Oh, and you definitely just wrote that.
No, I just circled it.
I don't believe you.
That's a good call, Jesse. Thank you.
I mean, it's 100% true. I wrote A, and then I wrote C, and then I showed you C, but then I circled A, hoping you would give me points for A. So good call.
Yeah.
I feel like he just has one of each letter written on there and just shows you the whole card at one point.
He's the one I always tell, like, use more fucking cards. I give you a stack and you got them all written on the same shit. Okay, Lindsay's at 1250. Paul's at 500 points. Don't worry, Paul. There's still plenty of time for you to win the battle for the vodka. Paul's trying to catch up here. Lindsay, can you taste the Grey Goose yet?
Yeah.
You're like, actually, the problem is that I'm
See
tasting
how excited
Absolute.
she was? Can you taste it? Yeah.
I mean, here's the whole thing: is I'm feeling like pretty buzzed right now, and I'm still fucking winning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So
Well, here's the thing, TM. When I drink, I lose.
And I mean, vodka is just my smart juice.
It is my unsmart juice. It is my guess wrong juice.
that's a bad. Why is that what you bring every time you come here then?
Because it's either that or like.
And then you complain about losing. Like, I don't understand. What's the deal?
It's either that or like a Jackfire. And if I get Jackfire,
Terrible.
like you're not using the episode.
Yeah.
Because I'll just like fall asleep next to you.
I'm already
on the
borderline
ground.
half the time anyway.
Yeah, I am too. It's like, ooh, my episode's coming out. Sorry, Greg. You had to do
So
a
I'm
lot
getting
of work.
better. Paul's getting worse.
Hey, it's like a roller coaster, you know? None of us are good all the time. None of us are bad all the time. The
roller
people that are bad
coaster.
all the time, they just don't really come back. I don't. And when it's me being bad all the time, the show will just end. That's how that'll be how it dies. Not because I choose to, because I just won't be good at it anymore.
Greg might carry you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He just shook his head.
He's
no.
shaking his head no pretty profusely.
Hard pass.
Greg knows that I'm definitely the heavier of the two of us, so it's not a good carry. Not a good deal for him.
Like a weight difference?
Sure. So another thing that happened and put a large scar in the investigation, obviously, is this mislabeled DNA. They're looking for motives when they realize it's not Noel Lee. So they feel a little bit suspicious about Scott Ponder's wife, Melissa. So what they do is I guess at some point, Melissa Ponder changes one of their son's diapers. Scott Ponder had two younger sons, and the cops take it and test the DNA against the DNA samples they have with everybody in Superbike, and the DNA doesn't match with Scott Ponder. It matches with Brian Lucas. So all of a sudden, police have this like what they think is motive for murder is that you didn't want anybody to know about it, so you just went in there and you wiped them all out, right? Is that what happened? And she's like, fuck you. I'll bring my kid down. You can do the fucking DNA test again. So she does it. They run the DNA once more, and the same result comes back. It's Brian Lucas's DNA. And so at this point, she stops cooperating. She lawyers up. And,
Smart.
And she looks, and you know, to a lot of people, she's like, this is guilty. Holy shit. Like, what is going on? And so, like Lindsay said, it's smart because what happens is the lawyer kind of gets into the mix and starts to figure some things out. And the police realize that they had actually mislabeled the DNA.
Twice?
No, this is the same time. This is
No,
the answer
they
from-
mislabeled the original sample taken from the victim.
Correct. So they had Brian Lucas's DNA as Scott Ponder's and vice versa.
I get it.
So it was his DNA that he was matching up with. So for a couple months, they're just fucking dragging her through the mud, it seems. And that's more like, I think I got her story a little more than I got like the police's story. But like, I could see how this could be detrimental to life in general.
yeah.
And being like, you were cheating, you're a murderer. So
One of those two will ruin your life.
yeah. Finally, she's cleared when they realize that it was just human error. What a fucking mistake, huh?
Sorry, it's my first day.
Yeah.
She's probably been like fired by now, completely like publicly hazed, and they're just like, hey, we put the wrong sticker on the wrong thing. Our bad.
Yeah, that's
Good luck with life.
That's pretty much exactly what happened. So on August 31st, 2016, Kayla Brown, who is 30 years old, and her boyfriend Charles David Carver, who is 32, went missing after they went to clean one of Kohlhepp's properties, the 100-acre compound.
I'm pretty sure I know, like, as you're telling the story, I know
where
the
this is
story.
going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can
I
we
watched
get
it on, like, GMA, for sure.
Can we get a different guest? I just sub her out.
No.
Bring one of the dogs in.
No.
No.
Fuck you, Paul.
I like your fierceness tonight, Lindsay.
I say that's straight.
You're getting
fire.
comfortable. I like that. Welcome
feel like-
to the Super Network
I
studio.
feel like all she says are just like, fuck you, Paul.
But it's good.
But
It's
it's
good
at all
radio.
the appropriate times, yeah.
Oh, no, they're perfect timing.
Yeah. They go to clean the property. It's Kohlhepp's 100-acre compound. It's full of brush, and there's a bunch of shit going on. They've both worked for him cleaning houses in his real estate company. They'll, go in and turn the house and make it look nice for open houses or whatever. So the they go there, and there's not a whole lot of interest initially in the fact that they disappeared. It was like on the news one time, I want to say, and obviously their family and friends were concerned that they were missing, but there's not a whole lot of like, public interest in this until at one point there is like starts to be weird Facebook activity on Charlie Carver's Facebook, and it's like weird to the point where the family's like, "What the fuck is like? This is not him at all." So it kind of like re-rose suspicion because for a few weeks they're like, all right, well, they're gone. 3 weeks into it, these are 2 adults that just disappeared. You're allowed to do that. And a few weeks later, he starts doing all this weird fucking like they're like saying they're on a beach and they're okay. And then I guess at one point he shared a photograph of some lyrics from a song. And for whatever reason, it just tipped his parents off finally. Like it's not a song he would have been like, it's not something he would have posted. It's not from like a Facebook page he would have done. It's not something he would have even done, like shared this weird typography of some lyrics from a song. The lyrics were, last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man. We are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Eagles, baby.
It's Hotel California. Yeah. So with his newfound information, they began to try to trace and triangulate the signals from Charlie Carver's cell phone, which they believe the Facebook posts were being posted from.
Were they in his pocket?
Well,
Like in this dude's pocket, like he just has.
he's
their
carrying
phones.
around his phone. So this is the thing, is that they're getting pings off 2 fucking towers. The 2 towers are the one nearest to Todd Kohlhepp's 100-acre compound and the one nearest Todd Kohlhepp's residential home. So, bing,
Yeah.
bing, 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 bing. So I guess they take a helicopter and do like a flyover of the property, which is pretty common. You don't own the air above your home.
Yeah.
The cops can fly right over that shit
Should've
and take
built
a
a
peek down
bigger
at
fence.
yeah, exactly.
I got some pretty hot fucking takes about that too.
Give us one.
No.
From the overhead flyby, they really didn't see anything but a barn and the shipping container. Nevertheless, they were able to, I guess, from what it seemed to me, they were like, oh, this barn's got solar, it's off the grid, this is a grow house. So they took it to the judge, and they were able to get warrants with the cell phone, the flyover, all of the other weird shit that had been happening. They're able to get warrants for both Todd Kohlhepp's residential property and the 100-acre compound.
So I'm kind of curious, just like side note here. Does the guy live like kind of in the middle of nowhere?
So the compound, yes, is in the middle of
So
nowhere.
do you think he was like curious when the cops were doing their flyovers? Like, do you?
He doesn't live there. Like
Yeah,
that's
is he
like
even
his
there?
shop. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's got just a little loft that he doesn't stay in really. He lives in the suburbs, and this 100-acre
Okay.
compound is just kind of like he goes there and he works from there. That's like his.
Okay.
This is before like motion detection video
No, it's
stuff
not.
on your cell phone.
It's
Let me
absolutely
finish.
not.
He didn't have a Ring doorbell on his barn.
Not that I know of. No.
But I'm just saying, like, okay, so like, if you live in an area where there's a lot of helicopters, like I live in a
Right.
flight path.
Me too.
So
Yes.
Or if you live in a city, but like if you live out in the country, like I used to live out in the country, and so if I heard a helicopter, it was like,
What
oh
the fuck
shit,
is that thing doing out
like
here?
yeah, like someone's in trouble or something happened or
Right.
like something's going on,
But like
Right.
if in
What's
your
the
in
ghetto
your,
bird doing out in the country?
Exactly,
like
yeah.
if you're in your home and your vacation
It's cutting
house
through the fucking
is
palm
like
trees.
50 miles away, you don't know what's going on above that house.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
She wasn't getting it, guys.
So anyway, they're going to time it out nice and serve both warrants simultaneously while Kohlhepp was at his residence away from the compound. They would search the property by starting in the barn, realizing that the barn had a loft-style apartment above it. They went up and found the first piece of critical evidence that they knew, that caused them to know something was clearly amiss. Question number 10. What was this evidence? Was it A, blood, B, a large weapons cache, C, chains attached to the wall, or D, the body of Charlie Carver? Just straight up. That's how you know it's a miss. A fucking body. Was it blood, a large weapons cache, chains attached to the wall, or the body of Charlie Carver.
What is the question again, though?
What was the main piece of evidence? Like the cops get in there, they're there for fucking 2 minutes, and they're like, they see something, and they're like, oh god damn it, like something's up here.
We got him.
It's one of these things. Is it some blood, a large weapons cache, chains attached to the wall, or the body of Charlie Carver?
I mean, it could be the body with the chains.
It's not.
Oh.
Lindsay says blood. Paul said, what was it?
Dead body.
Dead body. And on this one, nobody gets points. So it is still 1250 to 500. What they did find was a U-hook passed through a stud that came out like a bicycle lock.
I was
in
almost
the wall
going to say that, and I was like, it's
chains
not
looped
good
through
enough.
it. Yeah, so when they got up the stairs, they essentially see shackles on the wall and went, that's not really, like, even if you got a kink, it's
Even
not
if
like
you're
a
into, like,
permanent
BDSM,
fixture in your walls. You know, you set that shit up. And
This is
or
in
it
the
could be.
barn too, right?
This is in like there's like a loft apartment in the barn.
Okay.
So it's like part 1-bedroom apartment, part barn.
But if he's got a 100-acre lot, like, he doesn't need to go skimping on the BDSM stuff.
That is true. That is true. So anyway,
Probably.
November 3rd is the day that they're there. Kayla Brown is going to be found by the police chained to the wall inside the metal storage container on the property. After searching the home and barn, they went to the container and noticed it was locked up like fucking Fort Knox. There's like 5 super gnarly security padlocks on it. They began knocking on the container and realized that they're hearing a muffled scream and some knocking back. After retrieving an angle grinder from Kohlhepp's barn, they cut all the locks and were able to finally get in and reveal Kayla Brown inside what would later be described as a shark cage that was inside the container that was where she was chained up like a dog. So she's chained against the wall of a storage container inside a smaller cage inside the storage container. Pitch black. It doesn't have windows or ventilation. And the chains, she's handcuffed, I believe, at the hands and the wrist, and the chain is around her neck and like up to the ceiling. So fully chained. It's been about 2 months too that she's been in.
That's a whole different level of impressive.
So
Shut the fuck up, Paul!
And the fact that they
Jesus
had to go borrow
Christ.
tools from the crime scene.
what's that?
I just like that they had to go borrow tools from the crime scene.
Yeah,
like they
and-
were like, "Hey, there's a sea container out there that we saw on the flyby that we want to go do a raid on. What do we need to bring?" Nothing. We could probably just open it. It's probably not locked.
They brought bolt cutters, but these were like, you aren't using bolt cutters on these kind of locks.
I feel like she's having
It's not funny.
she's having like
It's
an
not
anxiety
fucking
attacks
funny.
over here.
So, yeah. They found her. She's alive. She's actually pretty okay for
my
all
God,
things considered.
dude.
The other thing is, and I'll show you on break, you can watch the whole thing happen on video.
No, I remember.
You've
Like,
seen it?
I remember the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
she's going to win this episode, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it happens that way. Yeah. So for anybody who's interested, we'll definitely get links up when the episode drops. But there's a police body camera, very clear footage. He's like one of the first ones that walks in, and you can see her chained up in this cage in this fucking pitch black sea container. Just it's very fucking. It's very dark. It's very heavy. So she was so clear and so coherent when they finally got to her that they started asking her questions just right. Like, she literally still had chains on
Yeah.
that and got them off, and she's just like answering questions for him,
Yeah.
like ripping off, like, this happened. He shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest. He wrapped him up in a blue tarp. He buried him here. He said you won't find him because he spread red pepper all over the ground in the area, so the dogs won't be able to sniff it out. Like, she's like, it's like she's just rehearsed what she was going to say when
Yeah.
someone finally came and rescued her, and she was fucking impressive.
She doesn't have much else to do. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, so they said that Kohlhepp would come. She said that Kohlhepp would come once a day, like in the morning-ish, feed her, take her up to the apartment, feed her. She would have to do anything he wanted sexually, but he didn't believe in rape. She was willing to do it, but he made very clear
I'm
that
sure.
if she didn't, that she would no longer be of any use to him, and for what reason would she be kept alive? So,
Yeah, that's not rape at all.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Greg?
Yeah, he sounds just like a lazy rapist.
Yeah, it's
Like, I'm gonna be here. You just rape yourself with me.
it's it's almost on the nose because that's what he was like. Like there were days where she wasn't into it. And he's like, well, that's not my style. But like, remember when I come back that, 2 in a row is like, it's not really good for you. It was like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So,
Ugh.
yeah,
God.
yeah. A further search of Kohlhepp's 100-acre property would recover Charlie Carver's vehicle, which was found in a ravine on the property, covered in brush and painted with a brown stain to match the surrounding area. So if someone was going to do some type of, I don't know, flyover in a helicopter, they would not be able to identify the fact that a vehicle was being stored somewhere on the property. According to Kayla Brown, she witnessed Carver being shot and was in shock initially when Kohlhepp then took her, threw her to the ground, applied hand and ankle cuffs so that she was fully restrained. He ambushed them. They were working. He went around a corner. They turned. He shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest. She's like, what the fuck? He takes her to the ground, handcuffs her, and chains her up.
Where did he take them from?
They came to
were
work
working
on
on
the
his
property.
Okay.
Yeah, so they showed up to clear some brush and make some cash, and they'd kind of they weren't officially employed by him, but whenever he
It was
needed some side
work.
work done,
Yeah.
he was very, believe it or not, he wanted to help people who were down on their luck, and these were people who were they were often without money and they didn't have a whole bunch, and so that was his kind of thing, was well, I'll hire these people, they can clean the houses and clear the brush. I guess he
Get chained in my little thing.
So I think he thought he may have owned this chick. He's got her taken down. Question number 11. For what reason did Todd's mother say that he killed Charlie? So Todd, we'll talk about it a little more later. One of his main things, I want to talk to my mom first. Before any of this gets out, before all this starts, I want to talk to my mom. So Todd's mom gives a reason for why he killed Charlie. Was it A, Charlie owed him money? B, Todd was interested in Kayla? C, Charlie tried to rob him? Or D, Charlie had a smart mouth? So this is according to his mother, Todd Kohlhepp's mother. This is why Todd Kohlhepp murdered Charlie Carver. You could do that every time. I'll be so happy. Okay.
This is my downfall as a guest. I reuse the same card over and over to save money.
Paul says Todd was interested in Kayla. Lindsay says that Charlie tried to rob him.
It's D.
It's D. Nobody's getting points on this one. Todd Kohlhepp told his mom, I killed him because he had a fucking smart mouth.
Good reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To shoot someone 3 times in the chest
Well,
plate.
it goes back to when the people were making fun of him for not knowing how to ride a bike, right? That pissed him off.
And I don't even know what was said. Who knows? I mean, I was not there, but who knows? He could have just said something jokingly that Todd took the wrong way.
Smooth move X-Lax.
Yeah, but anything like that could have taken someone like this to a place. So later, Kohlhepp's mother would claim that Carver was killed for having, quote, a really smart mouth, which Kohlhepp did not like. Yes, that's right.
What a fucking stupid reason to kill someone.
You should
by the
see
way.
her too. She's so indignant the entire time. She's like, well, he had a smart mouth. Why? Why'd you have a smart mouth?
I beat the shit out of my kid because of that too.
Yeah.
So that's why he kills people.
Yeah, so fucking crazy. And at one point, she's like, he's not a monster. Ted Bundy, that's a monster. My son is not a monster. And it's like, well,
Kind of is.
kind of a monster.
It's like a
right?
mini monster.
Yeah. She's real in denial about how fucking gnarly her son really is. So he would also say that he kept Brown captive because she didn't do anything wrong and that he did not want to hurt her. He just obviously knew he couldn't let her go. So Charlie Carver had a fucking smart mouth, got shot. Kayla Brown didn't do anything, but she was here for it. So I can't just let her go.
Right, you either kill her or
Right.
chain her in a storage thing with
Yep.
inside a shark tank.
Yeah, he went for the latter. However, on the January 1st, 2018 episode of People Magazine Investigates, the episode's called Killing Field, Kayla Brown stated in a video taken by police just after her release from capture, like they're literally taking the video in the ambulance. You can tell they're sitting in the ambulance. Just they've got video on her. They're asking her as many questions as they can that she's comfortable with. She's mad comfortable. Like, she's fucking solid. Like, this doesn't look like somebody they just... I feel like I would get pulled out.
She was probably still in shock.
Yeah, for sure. I've never been there, so who knows how I'd react. But like I feel like I would be a wreck once I knew I was free. She was just like,
well, it's like once I feel like probably like she had this like mindset, like I'm gonna do this, this is exactly what I'm gonna say, and it happened, and then she said it, and then probably once like it was over, she probably just like collapsed. I would imagine that would be my guess.
You're probably right, because I can't imagine that it was a very comfortable stay for a couple months inside a shipping container. So Brown stated in the video just after her release that Kohlhepp had killed Carver because that he was mad at her. So she has a different reason for why she thinks Todd killed Charlie. During her captivity, Brown was intimidated into not escaping after having been shown the graves of Megan Coxey and Johnny Coxey, the other victims, and explaining that he used to be a contract killer for the government. So it's like he's talking to her every day. It's not like he's taking her and like not talking, giving her food and raping her. He's like spilling his guts to her. That like, you know, I'm a serial killer. I'm a mass killer. I used to kill for the government. You know, even if they catch me for doing this to you, my handlers will get me pulled out of the situation, or the government will get me out of it. Like, it won't be long and I won't stay caught. You know, he said something like, I want to have a triple digit kill count, and right now I'm just in the high 2s, and blah, blah. So he's just bragging to her constantly about weapons, about himself, about how good he is at killing. He's a real fucking asshole. He would be his subreddit would be I am very badass.
Yeah, he sounds like a real douche. I mean, aside from the whole killing and stuff like that, like if he never killed anybody, he still sounds like a prick that I wouldn't want to hang out with.
Yeah, that's precisely right. So essentially, he punks her into not even attempting escapes by taking her out and showing her some graves. Like, yeah, well, I'll just put you right here. You try to fucking escape, you'll be in the ground right here.
That's how they usually like brainwash people.
Well, for sure. He would explain Stockholm Syndrome to her. Like, don't even worry. Like, once Stockholm takes over, you're going to be fine. You're going to like this. And if you're really good, you can become my partner and we'll kill together. So he was feeding her like a lot of that.
Yeah.
So, Greg, you look very
perplexed.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
He's just doing his best manipulations that he can possibly think of. And, yeah. Later, we would fully identify the bodies as Johnny Joe Coxey, who is 29, and Megan Lee McCraw Coxey, who is 26, residents of Spartanburg, who were reported missing on December 22nd, 2015. And remember, again, she was the waitress at the Waffle House that Kohlhepp frequented and freaked everybody out at. They were allegedly hired also by Kohlhepp to do work on the same property. Johnny Lee had been killed by a gunshot wound to the head Megan had been killed by a gunshot wound to the head on December 25th or 26th. It is believed, due to things that were told to Kayla by Todd, that Megan was in a very similar situation as herself, but had been less cooperative. So he kept her around for like a week and he killed her. That was a week after he had killed Johnny, with 3 gunshot wounds to the torso, also seemingly very similar in fashion to the way that he had killed Charlie Carver just months later. Question number 12. How were police able to identify the bodies of Johnny and Megan? You can stab if you like. There's only so many ways you can identify a body, but there's 4 multiple choice options for you here as well. Stab it? You probably could use a stab.
You could use a stab.
It's 1250 to 500. Lindsay's got the lead. There are 5 questions remaining.
That's where the comeback starts. I don't need a stab yet. Go ahead.
Okay. Multiple choice options are A, their tattoos, B, dental records, C, DNA from their hair, or D, they were preserved long enough through the dry soil that they still had fingerprints. Tattoos, dental records, DNA from hair, preserved long enough in dry soil that they still had fingerprints.
Take your time.
Lindsay said fingerprints. Paul says teeth. And again, nobody is getting points. I stumped you guys 3 times in a row. No, they were.
I thought D was like, I was like, that's way too long to be a fake answer.
Right? It's DNA, though.
Got you. It's
DNA from the
not
hair.
DNA. It's tattoos.
It's tattoos.
They were both.
I should have known.
They were both super tatted, and remember, it has been some time, but it's really only been it's been less than a year that they've been in the ground. So like, they're not fully deteriorated. Yeah, and they're sleeved. Like they're like neck downs. Like they're covered in tattoos. So they were very easily identified by their extensive tattoos.
You should have told us that before the question.
No.
It's like right before, like, hey, by the way, these guys are super tatted.
According to the county coroner, they were identified through their extensive tattoos, and the bodies were located due to Kohlhepp later showing the police in exchange for some privileges. Todd is later going to confess to the Chesney Superbike shootings and the murders of the 2 people whose bodies were found buried on his property, Johnny and Megan. And Charlie, in exchange for, here are the things he wanted. He wanted to talk to his mother before any of this got out to the media or even got to her. He wanted to give her this, it's either a photograph or a painting, I think, of a fucking horse. But it's like some family heirloom. Like
What a mama's boy.
Yeah, like she had it, and for some reason he had it now, but it was like her mother's and her mother's before that. But he wanted to get that to her. And also, apparently, Todd Kohlhepp was dating somebody at the time, and he wanted to be able to put some money into his girlfriend's daughter's college account. Mm-hmm. So the cops agreed to all these terms on the fact that he would give the locations of some bodies up. They let him do all the things. That's why we have so much of this information, because he was given like 6 hours in a room to just, Mom! And, that's what he did. He just blubbered to her about what he did and why he did it. And that's why she gets interviewed. And there's not a ton, but in all the documentaries that were legitimate that I rolled across, she's in all of them defending him. Police give him what he wants. He gives them what they want. He takes him to the body. And they said that he was super fucking calm, super cool. He walked to the areas of the body and was like, oh, it's 2 steps that way. Go up this way a little bit. That'll be Megan. It's 6 steps this way, up the hill, and over there by that stump, that's Johnny. And he was just like, he wasn't like remorseful about it or sad. He just pointed out his locations and was like, can I go talk to my mom again? So,
Mama, I killed Dean.
Yeah, it's a good drop, Greg. I wish I had it.
Good.
So yeah, he's Mad Mama's boy. Kayla Brown said that Todd had mentioned that he had killed some people in Chesney, South Carolina. When Todd goes and talks to his mother, he mentions the Superbike murders, which the Superbike murders are at this time like South Carolina's most famous cold case. It's like a huge, like if you're into true crime in South Carolina, this was something you knew about. There were 4 people murdered in cold blood in broad daylight in a very popular motorcycle shop, and nobody has any fucking clue what happened. So after he talks to his mom for several hours, his mom tells detectives, you should probably ask him about the Superbike murders. Like, just ask him.
Just saying.
Narcissistic, psychopathic Todd Kohlhepp's interested in telling them all about it when they ask. They don't believe him because it's a famous case. So there's like, this motherfucker just wants more attention. And he's like, okay, everybody had a single gunshot wound to the head. And that wasn't something that they released to the public. Like they just released that everybody been shot multiple times, and they had. But he went around and put a kill shot in everybody because everybody may not have been dead initially. So he went around and put one into the head of everybody just to make sure. So he gives them that, and they're still like, but yeah, exactly. And he goes, well, how about this? And he lists like the brand, the weight, the grain, everything about the ammunition used, as well as saying that's also why you didn't find any fingerprints on any of the ammunition, because I wore 2 pairs of gloves to load all of the rounds, even when I practiced. So they're pretty sure they've got their guy at this point. They've got shell casings.
He sounds like such a douchebag.
He is a douchebag. Oh. Like he is we've had a lot of douchebags and fuck faces and all that stuff on the show, but like he is truly one of the top douchebags. Like he's top douchebag. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He's real proud of himself.
Yes. So they at first think he's trying to serial confess his way into some more fame and realize that holy shit, we might have just solved the biggest cold case that we've got in this state. Search of Kohlhepp's property also uncovered numerous weapons, including 9mm pistols outfitted with suppressors, semi-automatic rifles, and an undetermined amount of ammunition. Because there was no record of background check under Kohlhepp's name for the purchase of the firearm, investigators believe he likely acquired the weapons illegally. Not to mention the fact that he was a felon and therefore wasn't even allowed to buy guns anyway. So, yeah, he has all these guns, but he acquired them quite illegally.
Wish we had stricter gun laws. That would have stopped him.
Come on.
Shut the fuck up, Greg.
It was reported that the Tempe Police Department had begun an investigation into Kohlhepp's claim, searching through unsolved homicides in the past decade. So he's like admitting to some crimes in Arizona. He's admitting to some crimes that he did when he was younger. Then he's also just saying and I also killed some other people. So Arizona, they're looking into it there. And that's also where he committed the rape and kidnap of his neighbor, was in Tempe. They said, the police said that they were going to focus on cases dated from 1983 to 1986 when Kohlhepp was living with his father, and had also in August of 2001 when Kohlhepp completed his sentence and was still living in Arizona before moving to South Carolina in November of 2001. So they're just looking at all these unsolved cases and these windows where he lived in Arizona, trying to see if
Could he have possibly done it?
Yes, exactly that. They come across something on November 25th, 2016. Police in Greer, South Carolina announced that they have named Kohlhepp as a person of interest in a crime. So it's not Arizona, it's actually in South Carolina. Question number 13. What type of crime did they think that he was involved in?
In South Carolina.
In South Carolina.
In 2016.
It's a past crime, and this in 2016 they're connecting him to it because now they're gathering a little more information.
When did he live in South Carolina?
He's there during that time. He pretty much from 2001 on, his release from prison.
So the crime is from when he was living there.
He's still living in South. Everything pretty much ends in South Carolina after 01.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And this is post
Let's hear it.
01. Paul, do you want to stab?
No.
Okay. Jewelry heist. Drug running, weapons running, or bank robbery?
Don't look over here. You're winning. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up, Lindsay.
With your eyeballs. Not even saying anything.
Lindsay says a jewelry heist. Paul says he's running weapons. And tonight,
Neither of them get points.
nobody's getting points. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Christ. Lowest point totals
Dude,
ever.
we are the worst guests.
Lindsay's got 1250. Usually I say break a G bar and you did pretty good. There are 16 questions tonight, though. 3 to go for you guys to get some good shit because, what was that, Greg?
It's a good
It's
defensive
been a
battle.
defensive battle.
Yeah, I like that.
Why are you giving us booze and then making it the most questions possible?
First of all, this is Paul's reserve. I did not give this to anybody. Paul leaves this here so that he may just bring some monsters when he arrives and begin his intoxication process, which began prior to his arrival this evening. So,
Against the notes that are in...
that is
Yeah.
true. I do had some notes about not drinking before you get here.
I stopped having 4 to 5 before I get here.
I do appreciate that.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome, Greg.
So they think they're connecting him to a bank robbery. An unsolved 2003 bank robbery at the local Blue Ridge Savings Bank. Bonus question, we'll just call it number, 14. During the bank robbery, it is possible that some people may have been killed. How many? 0 is an option.
Oh, we just got to guess?
Oh, yeah, this one is closest to is 250 points. Somebody nails it. It is for 1,000.
1,000 points.
I've already written my answer. She
Me
just
too.
keeps staring at me. He can see mine, though. You have to hold yours up. Did she write a slash?
Lindsay says 1. Paul says 3. Everybody believes someone got killed. You guys don't think he just robbed a bank?
No, dude. Because somebody was like, dude, you can't even rob this bank, right? And he was like, fuck you. And then he killed 3 people.
That's actually correct. Paul gets 1,000 points.
What the fuck, dude?
Guess who's winning? Fuck you, Lindsay.
What a move.
Dude, I've never seen Greg so excited. Look at him.
I can't believe it happened. You know what I mean?
Oh,
No, I
man, I
can't
got to
believe it
get
either.
super serious right now.
I almost put 7. Because I always put 7.
Yeah.
That would have been wrong.
Yeah. Good for me. Good for me.
This crime was separated from the Chesney shootings by only 6 months. In December 2017, Kohlhepp wrote to the Spartanburg Herald-Journal claiming that he had more victims who had not been discovered. Kohlhepp's cold demeanor is evident in prison mugshots. Kohlhepp was charged with 4 counts of murder in relation to the Chesney shootings, as well as 1 count of kidnapping in relation to Brown's abduction. He was later charged with 3 additional counts of murder for the murders of Charlie Carver and the Coxies, whatever their name is. I don't want to mispronounce it, but that's a tough one.
Coxies.
It's just Coxies. So it's got to be Coxies or Coxies. Along with 1 additional count of kidnapping and 3 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. Kohlhepp's next court appearance was scheduled for January 19th, 2017, but on that date, Kohlhepp's attorney waived their right to appearance. According to a report by WLTX, relatives of the Chesney shooting victims will also file a wrongful death suit against Todd Kohlhepp. Greg, you look like you want to chime in there.
I like the fact that they're like, okay, you can come into court and you can, make your statement and say what you got to say and, get it all out there. And the lawyer was like, nope. Nah. We're not letting him talk to anybody. In fact, on behalf of my client, we're not going to go in there. No, don't you want to confer with your client? No.
Absolutely
this
not,
isn't his
actually.
decision anymore.
He's
If he
gonna
want
stay
to
in the
win this
hall.
case, he's going to need to shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Have you met this guy? He's a douchebag.
We're not fucking bringing him in here.
Wait for one jury person to look at him and roll their eyeballs.
Yeah.
Another dead person.
So, also on December 1st, it was announced that Kayla Brown would also file a civil lawsuit against Todd Kohlhepp. On May 26, 2017, Kohlhepp pleaded guilty to 7 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of criminal sexual assault. Question number 15. What was his sentence for his guilty plea? You can stab if you like. I've got 4 multiple choice options for you here. You don't need to stab to tie it, Lindsay. Multiple choice,
Yeah, but
everybody?
Lindsay, if you stab, imagine back to back like that. If you stab,
Back-to-back
he gets one, and you
stabbings?
stab and get one, like that'd be awesome.
I think she's not gonna. You can't sell it to her.
I feel like her soul
No.
has just
Oh,
died.
you're gonna stab?
slowly.
You're thinking
I
about it?
might.
Now? Okay, all
Okay,
right.
repeat the question.
What's going to be his sentence
And
to
the
his
charges.
guilty plea of 7 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of criminal sexual assault?
A lot.
I have a side note. Do I have to guess how many life
Are
sentences
you still
he's getting?
on this?
If they sometimes they just give him a life sentence, but if you think they gave him multiple life sentences, you would need to guess that. Yes, because it's got to be the answer that I have here.
Which is what?
We're giving Lindsay a chance. We don't have Jeopardy music
If I have to
anymore.
guess the multiple life sentences, I'll hear the options.
Can you pour another drink? Jesus.
Okay, is it
No.
A, death, B, 444 years, C, 99 years, or D, 7 consecutive life sentences? Death, 444 years, 99 years, 7 consecutive life sentences.
I'll say, Lindsay, one of those answers sounds like what you were leaning towards stabbing at.
I was also going to say that, but I didn't want to rub it in. I know it got all serious
I know.
real fast.
She's
when Paul
losing
scored
now.
1,000
She's
points.
upset.
I know.
You were coasting,
Fucking me
weren't you,
up, man.
Lindsay?
I was.
You started coasting,
I was
huh?
coasting for a
I can't
minute.
lose the ball.
Now I gotta get serious.
Okay, Lindsay says 99 years. Paul says 7 consecutive life sentences. Paul's going to extend his lead because they did indeed charge him with 7 consecutive life
That was
sentences
a lot of counts of
without the
multiple things.
possibility of parole in a plea bargain that spared Kohlhepp from capital punishment, which is legal in southern state. They'll kill you.
Firing squad.
I don't think that.
You should bring that back.
Yeah,
They should.
I think
like
they still
to see
fucks with that in Narosha.
That's where I'm going to move. What's their internet like over there?
I just don't have an
Great
answer
questions.
for you on that one. Yeah.
I have to buy some snowshoes.
Okay. Yeah. Lindsay, I hate to say this to you, but the last question, you could totally stab at it. It's going to be almost impossible to stab at.
Okay.
So I'm not giving Paul the victory yet because you're going to have a chance when we get there. But it's
Somebody else is excited right now. Gyrating.
Don't I have like a Hella Greg challenge coming up?
Oh,
or
yeah,
something?
we already did that. It was the Bill Cooper question.
Oh,
Remember when you
Right.
lost
damn
that?
it.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones neither of us got right, probably.
No, Lindsay got it right. Lindsay got points on that one. Okay, so yeah, he gets 7 consecutive life sentences. Although his defense swore at his sentencing that there were no other victims to be found, Kohlhepp has since repeatedly admitted that there were at least 2 other murders. As of August 2018, he has yet to give authorities any details. He claims that it is due to the fact that they don't believe him and therefore will not listen to his confessions of any of the other killings. They are more like, dude, none of these fucking make any sense. You weren't there. We can prove you weren't there. Quit trying to get famous on fucking killing people you didn't kill, you dumb fucking asshole. Which is a great approach, in my opinion, because especially being true crime, serial confessors are of the season finale last episode 80. It was just serial confessor. Casey didn't buy any of it. If you guys listened, he fucking called bullshit on 90% of, which may have been the case. Henry Lee Lucas did not kill all the people that he said he killed. He killed like 8 people. And he's like, I killed 1,000 people and I had 6 of their bodies. Like that's
The oddest tool.
Yeah, they probably didn't. Otis Toole might have killed Adam Walsh though. That's a story for another day. So he's got one story. They've got another as to why nobody can find these bodies that he's claimed that he's killed. That's pretty much the Todd Kohlhepp story. We're gonna take one more little break because I have a side article. Let's call it. There's a question for that. I don't know what Paul wrote there on the card for you, but well,
It says I win.
you haven't yet. I really hope that she gets it. You know what I might do?
That's rude.
Actually, you know what I'm going to call it now. Here's what I'm going to do. The question's going to be worth 500 points since we're so close. So you'll get to check the multiple. You can do the multiple choice. If you get it right and Paul does not, you'll be able to tie it, which will send it to an artistic challenge because I'd love to see it.
She's not even a Patreon supporter.
That matters not when you're here as a competitor. So it's my fucking show. When we come back from break, the question will be worth 500. So you can do them because there's no fucking way you're going to stab it and get it. It's just not. It's not going to happen. It's just written that way. It's not you. So it's going to be worth 500. So if Lindsay can get it right and Paul gets it wrong, we'll go to a tie. Remember, Greg said at the beginning, it's a level playing field once we've got there for the artistic challenge. So
Yeah, how did we get there?
by both of you being generous individuals, Paul, thank
their
you so
bribery.
much.
We both bribed the host. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works
Say it's
around
bribery.
here.
I think you guys both did something out of the kindness of your heart, and I was
Thank
maybe
you.
internally swayed, but then swayed back.
It was out of the kindness of my heart. So
Right.
thank you for that.
So
now, if I direct Venmo Greg money, it's not out of the kindness of my heart. It's pure bribery. Just FYI.
there you go.
I don't know who would do that.
So let's take one more break here.
Love to.
We'll come back. No more Todd Kohlhepp. We're done with that fucking asshole. But I do have another crazy story that I think you're gonna like. I kind of like. I was torn against doing it because you can see we're at 240 here. But I brought it because I think it has like some connections to the things that you know a lot more about than I do. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Death and
it's
dying.
not going to help with the question, I don't think. But I think there's some things in here. So we'll get to the end here right after this break. Come back, or I'll kill you.
Kill you dead.
Hey guys, you were just listening to me, but it's me again. I'm just here to reiterate the Patreon. Patreon is really great because you can give as little as $1 a month to it, and you help the show keep moving forward in a way that is potentially great for you and me because I won't have to work a regular job, and you guys get a better, more often podcast. Win-win if you ask me. So patreon.com/serialchillerspodcast is where you can do it. We appreciate everybody that has done it. We just gave away $100 based on Patreon donations. So we're trying to give back whenever we can. So thank you everybody who has given. Thank you everybody who's thinking about giving. It's patreon.com/serialchillerspodcast. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the season premiere of the Serial Chillers podcast. Hella Greg's still in this thing, even though he's had to wait for our extended breaks. We do apologize for that, Greg.
I don't.
Greg, Paul doesn't. Paul is here and in the lead. Lindsay is here, and she means business. It is question number 16, you guys. This one's for 500 points. Lindsay gets it right. Paul gets it wrong. We head to a tiebreaker to see who wins. Lindsay misses it. Paul, it's an automatic victory. So, question number 16. What is this story going to be about?
Ooh.
Is it A, a new cannibal, B, mass familicide, C, pointless violence, or D, a tragic accident? A new cannibal, mass familicide, pointless violence, or a tragic accident?
What'd she put?
You
Lindsay,
guys
I'm really pulling for you.
You guys both
Shut
put
up, Greg.
C, pointless violence.
Yes.
So, Lindsay, you can't win
Yes.
because of Paul's same answer, but both of you were incorrect.
Doesn't
if that makes you
matter.
feel any better, it wouldn't
Doesn't
have mattered.
See me ninja that? I caught it.
Almost. It was a mass familicide.
Hey, what do you think that is?
It's when you kill your whole family.
Yeah. So the reason I
During
said
mass.
that, and I didn't even mean to, I started like while I was saying, oh, you'll be kind of into this, realize that I might be giving you a fucking hint. So I was like, we'll
I
get
was
there.
like, there's no way, because I was just on that episode. There's no way.
Yeah. So it's less that, more, I think there's not a lot about the story. The story's
Now I am going to have to take
Very
this bottle and smash Paul over the fucking head with it.
No, I'm just gonna put this over here, guys.
Paul's going to go home with a bottle of Grey Goose. Don't forget your bottle
He's gonna
of
put it
seltzer,
7'3"
too.
up in the
I
air.
don't want that.
Oh, he doesn't want the
you say?
seltzer.
You can have the seltzer.
Thanks, boo.
Yeah.
A consolation prize.
Yeah.
How about that?
Nobody's going home empty-handed.
So the reason I was saying, though, before the break, why I thought you might be interested in it, because I think when more comes out about the story, there's going to be some cult shit happening with it. It's
yes.
very, very fucking
Fuck
weird.
yeah, dude.
So when I've been bringing these side stories, I've kind of just been bringing an article to read. It's a little lazy, I know, but I'm giving full credit to Aaron Donahue from CBS News. This article was written February 26th, 2019. So, a mother accused along with her teen daughter of killing 5 family members in a Pennsylvania home Monday told authorities everyone in the home wanted to die, according to a probable cause affidavit. Shanna Decree, 45, and 19-year-old Dominique Decree are charged each with 5 counts of criminal homicide and a conspiracy count. The victims were discovered after a caseworker conducting a welfare check found the mother and daughter disoriented, quote unquote, and 5 people dead in the Morrisville apartment Monday, the document says. Bucks County District Attorney Matthew Wintraub identified the victims as Shanna Decree's 2 other children, 25-year-old Nalra Smith and 13-year-old Damron Decree Jr., Shanna Decree's sister, 42-year-old Jamila Campbell, and Campbell's 9-year-old twin daughters, Imani and Erica Allen. So these are the 5 victims that were killed in the home. 2 of them are fucking 9 years old. A visibly shaken Wintraub said Tuesday authorities are still trying to piece together a motive and how the killings were carried out. He said investigators are considering the possibility of slayings were part of an attempted murder-suicide. So there's like some mass... I think there was something similar in India, but there were hangings sometime last year, maybe the year before. This kind of... The reason it seemed cultish to me is that I think had some ties to some black magic cult weird shit. And I think
I remember that. It was like 3 or 4 family members were found hung and one person was in the back all disoriented.
Right. So it just reminded me of that. And there's not a lot more to it. Let's see. He said, Wintraub said that he couldn't speak to the statements allegedly made by Shanna Decree as outlined in the affidavit. Quote, as confusing as it was last night, we are no closer to understanding that in the harsh light of day, Wintraub said, they've got fucking really no idea what happened. These 2 women were super disoriented and are saying some weird shit. Wintraub said coroner would determine causes of death eventually. Sources tell CBS Philly that the victims were strangled. Quote, I just feel very confident that we have the 2 killers locked up and committed these who committed these atrocious murders, Wintraub said. The probable...
Do we really need all these atrocious?
Yeah, I
We
mean,
do.
I think he's just trying to emphasize how atrocious it really was. The probable cause affidavit says the caseworker knocked on the door but received no answer Monday afternoon. She asked a maintenance worker for the apartments to open the apartment where she found Shanna and Dominique Decree in bed, one unconscious and the other suffering from a seizure, according to CBS Philly. And the apartment is totally torn apart and in disarray. Morrisville police say that they responded and found 2 adults and 3 children dead in another bedroom. The probable cause affidavit says Shannon and Dominique Decree were transported to the hospital, where Shauna Decree told police everyone at the apartment, including the 9-year-olds and the 13-year-old, wanted to die. Shauna advised that all, including the children, were talking about suicide. They're like sitting around having a nice family discussion about, like...
Yeah, that's what 9-year-olds talk about, generally.
Or have no fucking idea what it is. Right, yeah. Shauna advised that all, including... But both mother and daughter at first denied knowing what happened and blamed the killing on Campbell's boyfriend and 2 other men, according to the affidavit. Dominique Decree had visible injuries to her neck, as asked if her family was alive, and repeatedly advised her wish to die. The document says that Shanna Decree eventually told investigators that she killed one of the victims. She and Dominique killed another victim, and that Campbell had killed 2 victims before Campbell was killed by Dominique herself. Wintraub said 8 family members lived in the apartment, which he described as tiny. The 8th family member, Campbell's 17-year-old son, was found safe after a search police said was located in Willingboro, New Jersey, where he was staying with friends, and stressed that he is not a suspect, according to the AP. Morrisville Police Chief George McClay on Monday dismissed Shauna Decree's claim that the victims wanted to die. When you have 2 9-year-olds involved, 2 9-year-olds can't make that decision, and a 13-year-old. Is it something in the adults' minds? I don't know, but it's surely not in 9-year-old minds, McClay said. It's a sad day for us. As much as I've seen over my career, this is the saddest case I've ever had. Shauna Decree is being held without bail, and Dominique Decree was expected to be arraigned later Tuesday. Wintraub said it wasn't clear whether the women currently had lawyers.
Did they say the victims had wounds? Or did they,
so there's no official cause of death yet. It's too fresh. And remember, this is from this article is even from about a week ago, but it was the most updated one that I found. So I don't know that a cause of death has come out yet, but it seems that
was a really good question, though.
Yeah, it seems that strangulation was what some of the people initially thought because of neck wounds. Like,
okay,
one of the women is alive, still had.
No, I think you meant like defensive wounds.
Oh, I see.
Well, what I meant was, because if one of them was unconscious and the other one was having a seizure and there's 5 people dead inside, I would think like gas leak. But if they have wounds, then obviously not.
Yeah,
but
I think
carbon monoxide poisoning and stuff like that can either, cause you to pass out and suffocate, but it can also cause you to hallucinate.
Yeah, and I don't think that their initial thought was suffocation. It was strangulation. Like, there are visible marks on one of the survivors and a lot of the victims' necks.
Right, but I mean, what I'm saying is carbon monoxide poisoning can cause you to hallucinate too. So if they're losing it because there's a slow carbon monoxide leak and they were home all day, they got home at 5 o'clock the night before and spent the whole day inside the house, and then this happened at 9 a.m. the next morning. You know what I mean? You've got X amount of hours spent inside a locked box with carbon monoxide. That's enough to make you hallucinate and then start attacking people or lashing out.
Fair. All right, Greg's taking the logical approach this time for fucking whatever reason.
I think that's why I lost this game today. You need to test this room, Jesse.
Yeah, there's a CO detector sitting right up there in the corner.
Fuck.
Yep. Sorry.
She has no excuses.
So that's pretty much it. I thought it was a wild story. It really reminded me of something that kind of had that going. So I'm sorry.
I still got to drink all of Paul's vodka.
That is truth. That is true. You guys did handle that. I'm sure that if you ask nicely, Paul might share that beautiful bottle of Grey Goose with you as well.
That's going to go in the next. That's the next reserve. It's next in line. It's on deck.
Yeah.
No. I'm bringing my own because if I leave it here now, apparently other people drink it.
Every
I was going to say Lindsay will be here next
week?
Saturday.
I'm staring at the schedule. She's here before me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. You're coming back in too. Jesus Christ, I book a lot of the same people.
She's just
So actually, you know what, Paul? Just leave it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
She's gonna put a piece of dog shit in it.
It's a callback. I like that.
These mics pick up a lot of things, guys. This is not a very soundproof room. At least from outside in.
Greg's heard that story before anyway, I think. So yeah, man, that's Todd Kohlhepp. That's dog shit and Gatorade. That is some crazy story about a CO leak, if you ask Greg. Thank you for bringing us a Bill Cooper short and sweet, Greg. Just tantalizing everybody out there to go get some information.
Yeah, well, I know when I texted you earlier and I was like, it'll be quick. I was thinking like, I'll keep it to like a tight 10. Nah.
That's all good. Who needs a tight
Can't
10
do
with
it.
Bill Cooper? Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you can't do
do the
that.
damn thing, man. You get the information out there. You got the scaffolding up. People can go complete the building themselves.
Go buy the book. Read the book.
Read the book. Get that
Don't
estate some money.
buy it on Audible, though.
1-star review, incomplete reading. I wonder if they'll let us. Maybe we can kill two birds with one stone. You can finish the recording and send it to them.
Yeah.
So you'll get to read the book, and it'll be a complete book. 2-star review. Hella Greg reads it.
Because he reads the original. He's the narrator for the first part. So it'd be nice to collab with him.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys a lot for being here. Lindsay, Master of Marketing, tell us, what would you like to share with us tonight?
Follow me on Instagram. I'm just on Instagram at Callaway Hair Co.
Follow it. It's fascinating. I don't know what, like, as somebody who's like never had their hair dyed, why I get caught every time like a hair dyeing video comes across. I'm like, it's fucking cool, man. Because I think the first thing is that I don't get it. It's like something that, like, when I see people work on cars, I'm like, I understand, but I don't fucking get it. Like, it's very fascinating to me. So yeah, follow that shit, yo. Paul, what do you have to share with us this evening?
Bigfoot, I'm coming for you.
Oh my god.
Put some vodka on the line, and I clearly don't lose, right, Lindsay? Right.
So, all right. Well, that's Todd Kohlhepp. That's Bill Cooper. That's the whole goddamn thing. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Hella Greg, as always. Supernetwork.com, thesupernetwork.com. We didn't lock down Super Network. We missed our opportunity. So thesupernetwork.com for all the updates. We got some stickers for sale on there now.
Super is SUPR.
That's right. Yes, SUPR, guys. Don't put that E in there either. We don't own that. We should maybe get that. That's not a bad idea.
I was just going to say.
It's only like $20.
Where you at, Lindsay? Come on, marketing genius.
All my shit is, I just Google it, like.
All right. Well, seriously, thank you guys. I know it's pretty late. We started at 7:30. It's 11:30.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. You guys are both scheduled for more episodes this season, so you guys will hear more from them. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 81 of the Serial Chillers podcast. Remember, don't talk to strangers.
Or do.
Whatever is your preference at this point. I've been telling you.
This has been another presentation from Super Network.